All, welcome back to the channel. My name is Brady, the Overanalyst, bringing you 3 to 4 more hours of Sly 2 Band of Thieves as part of the HD Sly Cooper collection, streamed through the PS Now service, which has actually had... Hey, Luna, how's it going? Good evening.
Hi, Luna.
Pretty high quality. We've seen very, very few, technical hiccups with the streaming so far, which I'm really impressed with.
Oh, yeah.
Joined, as always, by my good friend Seth the Overwitch.
Hello.
And we'll be mentioning this a couple times throughout today's stream, but really quickly, I want everyone to know, and that includes those of you who might be catching this after the fact as a VOD before the end of July 2021, Seth's cat, Palpatine, who is like a member of the family and an informal mascot for the Overanalysts, is going to be spayed at the end of the month, correct?
Yep.
And unfortunately, the procedure is going to be a little bit more medically demanding than we would have anticipated. She's going to need quite a bit of aftercare and some additional procedures beyond what would typically be encompassed by, a standard spaying. So, that also means the procedure is going to be more costly than we would have expected by quite a bit. Just in case anybody would like to help Seth and Palpatine cover the additional costs of that surgery, there is a link, a donation link, you can access right here. There we go. Thank you, Seth.
Aha.
No pressure whatsoever. I know everybody's going through a lot right now across the entire world, but if you would be compelled to donate to our network in any capacity, be it through subs or cheers or any of that right now, this would be the best, most beneficial way to do it, because you're helping a little kitten get quality medical care without breaking the bank. And it's greatly appreciated. You're greatly appreciated, so thank you. We'll be mentioning that a couple more times. Alrighty.
Thank you.
When last we left off, we were halfway through the second chapter of Sly 2, which is going to see us dancing our way through Rajan's palace in India to steal the clockwork wings from this massive statue he's had them welded onto. Oh yeah, Luna, don't sweat it, man. You've done enough. It's good. We've got more than enough coin in-game now, and oh yeah, if you recall, last time around, Sly stole a tuxedo and infiltrated the ballroom to dance with Constable Nila and recon the floor. Apparently our disguise is good enough that none of the Interpol agents could tell it was Sly. I guess he's unrecognizable without the hat.
Of course.
And now we need to carry out a series of missions based around actually preparing to lift the wings themselves. They've been grafted onto the back of this massive statue with some really high quality material, so we're going to need to forge basically a diamond saw blade to remove them. Well, I say diamond. We're actually going to be stealing rubies, but it's going to serve the same purpose in universe. So, whence are we going to acquire those rubies? From the headdresses of 2 of Rajan's prized elephants. This is a Sly mission, meaning there will probably be relatively few casualties.
Not like with Murray.
Not like with the other 2, really.
Yeah. Bentley the assassin and Murray the, well, at this point, Hulk.
Yeah, Murray's like just the big, jolly, pink Hulk.
Yeah.
But,
Oh,
no...
by the way, guess what I wanted to do while you were streaming?
Yes, ma'am?
I wanted to play banjo to collect the stuff that I didn't collect. I turned on
right
the game,
on.
played for 10 minutes, and I was like, nah.
So,
Then I learned Riffle Shuffle.
I think
Whatever the name of the shuffle is.
the takeaway here might be, we, at least, like you and I, do not enjoy the Banjo franchise near as much as many people do.
Like, I think I would say 80% of my enjoyment of the series has been through sheer nostalgia.
Yeah, and like the visual design and soundtrack, they're very cute.
Oh yeah, definitely. Soundtrack is amazing.
Something I did not know, Mumbo Jumbo is voiced by the composer for the game, Grant Kirkhope. That's him.
Ikam
Yeah. Alright, let's see about getting those, headdresses dismantled. First things first, we've got to get the elephants out of their enclosure.
Crawl in that hole under the steps and find an alternate route.
Guys, let us know how audio balance is, if there's any issues, and I'll do my best to address them. Thanks. So we're under the elephant enclosure. Not much we can do down here but stir up the rats, which stir up the elephants.
Obviously. Oh no! You need to charge your battery.
Yep, on it. There we go. There we go! Stirring up the rats has caused the elephants to panic, go on a rampage, and smash through their enclosure. We've done a good job.
Wow, you sure look spooked.
Job well done, Sly. Now comes the hard part. I need you to snatch the headdress jewels worn by both elephants. The jewels are firmly embedded, so keep whacking at them with your cane to knock one loose.
I'll need to make use of the rooftops to get to one of the elephants' backs, but it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, okay, so this is not too complex. This is essentially a series of two very basic mini-boss fights. We can use the plumes of incense emitted from the braziers on the elephants' backs to track them around the compound, which is handy. The Sly series from 2 on is very, very good about visual telegraphing of objectives and things like that, allowing you to track things that are on the move pretty easily. All we've got to do is make our way onto the howdah on each elephant's back, and then, come on, let's get rid of the goat guard. There we go. And then hack away at the headdress until a ruby is dislodged. Once we've got all 3 from a given elephant's headdress, the howdah and braziers will shatter, effectively taking it off of our radar. The elephants won't do much to us while we're back there, except attempt to swat us off with their trunks, which will have to jump. Like so. Or no, they won't until we remove the first ruby from each howdah. Alright. Oh! The elephants can trample the guards. I forgot about that. The elephant will trumpet immediately before swiping at us with its trunk. Every single time. Making this an easy mission. Easy fights, these.
Easy.
And there we go. That's one elephant out of the picture. We're just going to leave this angry, rampaging elephant to itself for now. I'm sure the guards can handle it. Or maybe Murray can later on. Murray could probably just suplex them.
Murray can just walk all over them, and under them, and through them, and everything. Hey, puppy. What's up?
Now that I think about it, Sev, I believe it's fair to say every single time we play as someone who is not Sly, specifically the other 2 members of the Cooper gang, horrible things happen to NPCs.
I mean, to be fair, I think that Sly is a pacifist.
Oh, yeah, no, total pacifist Sly.
Yeah.
No violence here,
It's
no
like
siree.
Cooper. Basically Mother Teresa. Maybe like Jeanne d'Arc.
There you go, yeah. Well, I mean, the only real skill he's going to exhibit in this chapter by the end, like, special skill, is phenomenal dancing. So, I mean, I guess he's more like, Slykel Jackson.
Sly. Oh.
You're welcome.
Now I have that image in my head. Not hating it.
No, he could pull it off. The tough part is actually reaching vantage points that allow us to, to drop onto the elephant's howdahs. Whoa! He landed on the headdress and didn't fall off somehow. Oh, no. Oh, it caught us that time. Alright, one more. One more. And then Sly will have one more mission before the operation. And Bentley also has a mission. Whoa! There we are! Only had to dodge one swing that time. And mission complete. Oh, I guess they just magically rounded the elephants up. You know, as you do.
That's it. With these jewels,
Oh, Luna, you know you love the pun.
ultra hard
You know you did.
steel saw for the heist.
So we've got our gemstone saw blade. That's, squared away. Next up, let's go over to, Boardroom Brawl, which is going to see us breaking into Rajan's, well, his business offices. Like his personal offices in the bowels of the palace. We're going to have to crawl in through that little storm drain you may have noticed around the back of the palace when we were collecting clue bottles. Right over here. This is our requisite, like, actual sneaking stage this time around. Well, this in the guest house. For starters, we have, our vault, I believe, with a new special move.
Fitting through the drain pipe, so we'll need you to unlock the vault room from the inside.
So,
I've heard the
we have to unlock the door because Murray's too fat to crawl in here.
combination written beneath
Oh, man.
break tables.
I mean, makes
You want me
sense.
to crawl under each till I find it.
That's the idea.
So we have to search the room for a passcode hidden beneath one of the tables. It's easy enough. First things first, though, this fella has some loot. Gold ring, nice. We can sell that. We will sell that. Oh, I thought we landed the finisher on him. Oh, no matter, though.
I don't see any code.
No code there.
Table, it's here somewhere.
Attention, ballroom guards. Allow no guest entry to the inner workings of the palace. This party is supposed to be legitimate, and I don't want my flawless reputation being spoiled by some flunky who doesn't know how to lock a door. This spice trade is a dangerous work, particularly for those who anger me.
And that's the second time we've heard from Rajan and his fairly incredible temper.
Fantastic.
Ah, here we go.
The code into the vault's laser.
There's our code. Oh, could we also have, like... Oh, yeah, we could sneak around up in the rafters. Look at this.
Nice.
In fact, that's the door we're supposed to unlock for Murray, but we'll get back to that, don't you worry. First things first, let's access that vault.
Nice work. Make your way to the security lockdown switch and let it be in Murray.
Woo! That was close, but we made it. Of course we did. Been playing these games since I was like 5. I should be able to handle this. You would think, you would hope. Get used to the security cobras, they're everywhere in chapter 2 and 3. Alright. What's our code this time, Bentley?
I'd love to see the look on Rajan's face when he finds this vault empty. The code should be 857.
Alright, what do we have? Ah, Confusion Strike. Oh, Insanity Strike, my bad. Of course, I forgot. The Cooper Gang seems to only commit atrocities. Let's see what this does. Well, I would like to know what it is before I assign it, but fine. Confuse your enemies into attacking each other with a tap from your cane. Yeah! Yeah, that's alright. Also something you could do in Assassin's Creed, with those berserk darts in game 4, I want to say? Like I say, Sly Cooper is just a better, earlier Assassin's Creed. Now that we've unlocked the door, in come the monsters.
Thanks for breaking us in, pal. The Murray approves.
Let's get down to brass tacks. I need to hack both the vault room computers to get control of the electronic winch above the ballroom.
So what are me and Sly here for?
The second I enter their servers, they'll be on to us. You guys need to work together to keep the thugs off my back.
You and me, pal, side by side.
The Murray knows no fear.
Okay, so now we have to defend Bentley while he hacks Rajan's
The
system.
level 6 barrier.
Oh, and look who we get to play as!
Ooh.
You know what that means!
I'm in. Murder time!
Yeah, they're all dead. Observe. We'll be bouncing back and forth between Sly and Murray during this segment, I believe.
Level 5 system.
Or no? No, this might be all Murray. Good going. Well, Rajan's going to be writing a significant number of condolence letters. Oh,
Yep.
right, we've got to keep an eye on Bentley's health. He can't take too many blows.
Okay, I'm close.
And enemies will be focusing on him exclusively. They know it's a lost cause to try and fight Murray. There you go. Yeah, Luna says death, death everywhere. That's all Murray does. Yep.
Okay, going for level 3.
I mean, just try and keep track of how many guards we cut down over the course of this. Oh yeah, some of the baboons have torches and will attempt to breathe fire at enemies from a medium distance. They also have nothing on the Murray.
So close. Yes. Headed for level 2.
Alright, 2/3 of the way there. Come on, Bentley. I mean, this is just obscene.
Almost have it. Going
Alright.
for
Level 1. Oh, they like fire, do they? Well. And since it takes a while for the fire breather's attacks to actually reach a target, they have to slowly lower the cone of flame down onto enemies. It's very unlikely that they'll be able to hit Bentley many times. Those gotta lick in on him just because I was totally unaware they spawned. Oh, we accidentally set Sly on fire. Oh well. The Murray's destruction is indiscriminate.
I've got control of the winch. Thanks for the backup, guys.
I had an idea of doing something, and I'm not sure if it's a good or a bad idea, so I need your expertise in good and bad ideas.
Of course, I'm certainly an expert on bad ideas, at the least.
Exactly, so you're gonna be able to tell me if this is one of them. Lately I've been seeing a lot of these tarot reading channels that have like a pick a card thing, you know, just like you have 3 cards down, then they pick a card and you have a reading for every group. And they seem to be quite popular, and I was thinking like, maybe I can do that?
Yeah, I mean, why not? I don't think... Well, I'll put it this way. I don't believe there is any risk of a negative outcome arising from that.
Yeah,
It can't...
yeah.
It literally can't hurt. And
Yeah.
it's something
Yeah.
you enjoy, something you're passionate about, and that would be
Yeah.
able to find a pretty engaged audience quite easily. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Or a good idea to play around with, at least. Experiment with.
Yeah. think I'm gonna give that a shot. Beppo wants a poopy walk, so I'll be back in like 10 minutes.
Alright, in the meantime, Bentley is going to use a drone to destroy all of Rajan's security. Which is actually the focus of the next mission. Yeah. Like I said, guys, I've not really given it much thought before, but anytime we're not controlling Sly in Sly 2 or 3, we're usually doing something horrible. Remember, Rajan apparently has surface-to-air defenses, so like some pretty heavy ordnance. That he didn't break out to, like, take down Murray, or even attempt to do so, when he was clambering around the rooftops. And, well, we need to get rid of those, because we're going to be using some air power to exfiltrate the area with the Clockwork Wings. Real quickly, want to show off Bentley's little Shrink Strike. It renders enemies both smaller and considerably more frail. Very, very handy for reducing enemies to a state where Bentley can handle them even with his weak melee attacks. But, as aforementioned, oh, there's our mission. We need to get rid of Rajan's surface-to-air defenses, in the form of, I think, a very heavily armed jeep or armored car or something. And for that, Bentley's going to demonstrate yet another one of his talents. Remote control drone mastery. We're going to be using a drone here to bomb the jeep into oblivion. That's more or less what this entire mission is about. It's another mini-boss fight, like with the helicopter earlier.
Neutralize their surface-to-air defenses. We're going to need free reign of the sky during the heist. Well, be careful. Chopper parts aren't cheap.
Now I know what you're thinking.
Trial has been sighted.
Isn't it strange that we're using an aerial vehicle to eliminate surface-to-air defenses? Well, yes, but we can turn on a dime, allowing us to very easily outmaneuver the Jeep's missiles, which it will start firing right about now. As you can see, we've already set it on fire, and we've dealt practically no damage to the thing, so it's going to be in a proper state by the time we're done here. It's also going to start driving several different circuits around the compound as we wear it down. I think it's going to take a couple different paths, or maybe not. Maybe I'm confusing this with another mission.
Well, that was the avionics
Oof.
packet. I'm going to cry.
This is not bad as far as RC chopper missions go. There's a fair few of them. Just one enemy firing one missile at a time. That's not too bad at all. See? Nice, quick, and easy. And with that, I think we're ready for the operation. Let's lift those wings.
Okay, synchronize your
Operation
watch.
Hippo
This
Drop.
is going to take extreme
Of course.
Here's the plan. I'll start things off by demolishing the palace's main bridge.
Yep.
That should cut off reinforcements from the guest house and hopefully distract the ballroom guards standing watch over the Clockwork Wings. Sly will then take Carmelita up on her offer for a dance, and while the crowd is transfixed by their tango, Murray will lower into the ballroom on the electronic winch. Once down, he'll cut the wings free and then winch back up for an exit. Murray should then make his way out of the palace. I'll cover his exit with the RC chopper. Once he's past the drawbridge, we're home free.
Yeah, this one's actually nice and simple as these operations go. But again, we'll have an opportunity to play as all three members of the gang. Before we do that, though, before we begin Operation Hippo Drop with Bentley, let's go gather up this stage's third major treasure. I don't think we've gathered the third treasure. Hey, MC, good evening. Yes, how goes, Spy Cooper? Very, very good. We just used Bentley to command a drone to destroy several surface-to-air defenses, and Murray got to, like, slug his way through about 60 guards in one mission. So, you know, going as one would expect. we're in fact to the final stage of Chapter 2, or the final mission. Operation Hippo Drop, which involves lowering Murray into the ballroom on a winch to saw the clockwork wings off of Rajan's statue with essentially a diamond-bladed saw. It's a very good final stage, as operations go, but quite short and simple. So before we get there, we want to grab this kite and run it back to the hideout so we can sell it on ThiefNet. We always want to make sure we have more than enough gold on hand, so that we can buy any upgrades that become available as soon as they become available. In, Chapter 3 or Chapter 5, I forget which, it actually becomes quite imperative that we have enough money to buy a couple, newly available upgrades. And furthering that goal, we've got some loot here. Silver ring? Yeah, that's not bad. I'm not even going to risk tangling with him, because we need to make it back home with our kite intact. There we go, nice and easy. Easy, easy, easy. And then we're going to have to pilot Bentley on over to the guest house, so he can begin the operation by demolishing the bridge connecting the guest house, and presumably all the innocent civilians there, to the main palace compound. Trust me, he's got his reasons, I'm sure. Alright, time for Bentley to do what he does best, destroy things surreptitiously. Rather than totally overtly, as does Murray. Let's see what we got. I remember this operation being quite easy. The first stage, or the first phase of it here on the bridge, is actually the hardest, far and away. See all of those support strats down there? We're going to have to bomb each of them individually. Those up on the second level will require 2 bombs apiece, I think. And as we hack away at more and more of the bridge's supports, the structure will, of course, gradually destabilize, causing debris and things like that to start raining down that we'll have to dodge. And remember, Bentley cannot take very much damage at all compared to the other members of the gang. So we've got to be quite careful indeed. Let's start the operation.
Murray and I are moving into position. You still think you can demolish something that large?
It doesn't take an engineer to figure out how to blow up a bridge. I'll start by placing charges on all of the lower cleats. Once the structure destabilizes, those retainer rings on the upper cleats should pop right off. That should enable me to bomb all of the upper cleats, which will bring it all crashing down.
Just watch your head when that thing gets unstable. We need that brain of yours in one piece.
Alright, let's begin. Oh, yeah, and this is one of a handful of scenarios in Game 2 where we actually get to hear Bentley's theme during gameplay. It's great, and kind of fits his character perfectly. So all we gotta do is just blow these things away while dodging the debris. You can see the debris telegraphed by these faint shadows that appear on the ground. It's also great that the detonation radius of a bomb is very, very helpfully telegraphed by that flashing red light they exude. Nice and helpful. Okay, now we've got less room to move around, and we've got to bomb each of these suckers twice. Just trust me on this one, it is twice. Whew. Oh no. Oof. Definitely don't want the debris to knock us off the bridge. That would be the worst case scenario. Oof. No, 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 no. Alright, made it. Not bad at all. Only one tiny little mistake. That's the worst part of it over with.
I'll warm up the van.
And it's actually a really fun little set piece.
Good luck.
Okay, so Bentley's going to go prepare, to cover Murray's escape with his little bomb drone.
Take all the manpower you need.
And now, it falls to Sly to use his dance with Carmelita to enrapture the audience and distract them from the giant hippo slowly being lowered into the ballroom to saw the wings off the statue. Keep your eyes on the statue during this ensuing set piece, because you will see Murray screwing around with it in the background constantly throughout the entire event.
About time. I thought you had left.
Time for another waltz.
Perfect moment.
This plays out almost identically to Constable Nila's dance. It's slightly more complex, that's all. And a little longer, I think. Again, Sly is apparently perfectly disguised so long as he's not wearing his hat, which is incredible.
You look familiar to me. Are you in law enforcement?
I often deal with police while on the job.
Rajan's not the most aware crime lord in the world, is he? How's everybody doing today, chat? Yeah, nobody's noticing this at all. It's totally fine, don't worry. And yes, Murray is strong enough to lift both of those things on his own, because of course he is. He's Murray, that's what he does. Kinda makes me wonder where the other members of the Claw Gang are during all this.
Nice. Ooh.
Murray's almost clear.
Tell me, stranger. What's your name?
Why ruin the moment?
Huh? I don't understand.
The wings! What happened to the clockwork wings?
Oh, good of you to just now notice, Rajan.
What? Cooper!
MC says, well, the world's not raccoon racist. That's true, that's true. We've got Clockwork's wings, great. But, I mean, like, Sly Cooper is a well-known personality in this world. Like, everybody, his face has been publicized in wanted posters and photographs and things like that. Like, the Cooper clan are actually very high-profile thieves, so you would expect the people whose job it is principally to apprehend them, and also the drug syndicate they've stolen from, to be able to recognize them. It's great, though. I love that Saturday morning cartoon logic. You take the hat off, totally different person. Luna says arm is hurting because of the vaccine. Oh, sorry to hear that. But give it a couple days, and you'll probably be right as rain. That's normal after receiving a deep tissue vaccine.
RC Chopper.
Now, all we have to do is use our bombs to cover Murray as he makes his way to the van. This is quite easy, seeing as how, we have bombs and they don't. And also, unlike Bentley in the Boardroom Brawl mission, this time around we're covering Murray, who is, more than a little durable.
This is tense!
He'll take a couple hits over the course of this, but He'll be fine. As long as we don't bomb him. Our bombs will actually deal a fair amount of damage to him.
Nice flying, Bentley!
It is completely impossible to hover in place while controlling the RC drone. We will always be headed forward in the direction we're currently facing, so you have to keep that in mind as you move about. Hence, we'll be doing a lot of gentle circling like this. Whoa, that's a lot of goats. It was a lot of goats, correction. Come on, Murray, just a little more. And we made it! We got Clockwork's wings and cleared up, well, our second chapter of the game. That was a nice, easy conclusion. And
After the gang and I got away with the Clockwork wings, Carmelita blew her cover and started making arrests left and right. With his reputation in shambles, Rajan was forced to...
And that's it. This is one of those rare occasions where we conclude a chapter without a boss fight.
The gang and I took a break and headed for Bollywood.
We gathered the wings, and were able to effectively chase Rajan out of his palace.
Indian musical. I was happy the guys got to unwind, but Rajan was still out there. And somehow, I knew things were about to get tough.
But again, this is something unique to Sly 2. There are several villains who feature in 2 consecutive chapters. Rajan is the first of them. We actually spend 2 chapters tracking him down and emptying out his store of clockwork parts. He's got one more, and it's actually way more important than the wings he was using as decorative elements. And, oh god, to gather the clockwork heart, depicted here, we'll need to track him down to a ruined, abandoned temple complex high in the mountains in Chapter 3, The Predator Awakes, which I would contend is probably the second worst chapter in the game. Maybe the worst. It's still good, don't get me wrong. By the standards of this type of game, it's good stuff. It's just considerably less enjoyable than almost everything else we'll be experiencing together. And the reason for that is kind of twofold. On the one hand, it has a relatively muted, completely homogeneous color palette. You'll see what I mean. There's a lot of fairly drab, very, very cool colors. The environment doesn't pop quite as much as most of the others from the franchise do. And secondly, this chapter is absolutely inundated with missions that require you to run objects, often fragile objects or objects that impede your movement in some way or another, from one end of a fairly big map to the other. Back and forth, there's a lot of it. When we're not doing those things, it's kind of a solid chapter, but it's just not the best. MC says it's not a problem of deep tissue vaccine, it's an issue of not massaging after a vaccine. I suspect they don't want the vaccine to enter the bloodstream too quickly to avoid issues. I don't know about... I don't know what's normal in other parts of the world, but generally, when I get a flu vaccine or something like that, I don't have the area palpated afterwards. It's injected, and I usually forgo bandages or anything like that. I've never been a huge fan of them, and that's it. But I'm sure you're right. I'm sure they would want to make it as gradual as possible. Okay, so, Chapter 3, we're bringing down Rajan. And, hey, Smurf, welcome to the stream, and thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're doing well, and, again, thanks for joining us.
It took some detective.
Hope you're enjoying the game.
I managed to track down where Rajan had gone into hiding. Somehow, he'd managed to transform a long-forgotten temple into the thriving center of his spice operation, and it's there where we'll find him. The jungle, too thick to drive through, forced us to walk the long distance to our target. We ran into a few problems along the way, but pushed on. For the temple was more than just Rajan's hideout. It was also home to the Clockwork Heart. A pump so strong and tireless, it could increase spice production tenfold. Good for Rajan, but awful for the rest of the world. Hope he's not counting on that heart too much, because tonight, it comes home with me.
So, given the visual design of the plant it's derived from, I'm pretty sure spice is this universe's heroin analog. And yeah, Rajan's been using Clockwork's Heart, probably the most powerful or one of the most powerful artifacts of the bunch, to just increase his drug production. Solid. MC says, I do get the area massaged here, or if I have the right person, no massage and no pain. There's a way to inject right, even with the flu vaccine. Oh, yeah. Most of the time, I have no pain beyond very, very minor soreness whatsoever from, like, even deep tissue vaccinations. Or, sorry, no, intravenous vaccinations. I guess I've just been lucky and had a lot of technicians perform injections that were really, really talented and caused no pain whatsoever. Okay, so first things first, let's gather up what new abilities we can. Bentley gets a new bomb that allows him to temporarily knock enemies out. It's like a AoE version of the sleep dart, basically. It's pretty solid. Smurf asks, how long have you played Sly games? Well, ever since I was 4 or 5, I want to say 5, maybe. Not long after the first game came out. I'm 23 now. It's one of my favorite series, and I've not played any of the games in this series in quite some time, since maybe around 2015 or thereabouts, 15, 16. So it's a real pleasure to be able to share them with everyone here in our community. We'll go ahead and grab the snooze bomb, why not? Murray gets an even better version of his throw, which causes any object he tosses to explode in an area of effect on impact. This does not just include inanimate objects, it also applies to cards. And we're, not just because we can't afford it, but we're going to hold off on the stealth slide for a little bit. It gives Sly a faster, quieter alternative to the sprint, but we are going to be saving our money up just for a little bit, because in the next couple of chapters there will be some really, really good stuff to acquire. MC says Brady grew up to become a thief after playing Sly Cooper. Hey, the best thieves only steal from other thieves. There's no honor or fun in stealing from regular people. Okay, so new chapter, new set of clue bottles, you know how it goes. I'm sure you can already see what I mean by this chapter being a little visually drab compared to what we're used to from this franchise. And yeah, it is. It's also a bit of a pain to navigate. There's a lot of verticality here, but far, far fewer avenues of access to higher vantage points and things like that. It's basically all vines or trampolines in the form of mushrooms in this stage. MC says, you say that, Brady, but you steal the hearts of people. Oh, thank you, man. Much appreciated. As usual, we're going to do a little tour of the area, best as I can anyway, and gather what clue bottles we can, hopefully mopping up any stragglers during the course of the actual path of progression. See what I mean? Area's absolutely massive. There's a lot to it. And getting from point A to point B is going to be a pain. Jump. And jump. It's worth collecting the clue bottles, I would say, though, because, at least based off of the first 2 chapters, we get some pretty good abilities as rewards, don't we? There's another one right up here. We also have a fantastic location for the safe house this time around. That, like, stone, what on earth is that supposed to be? A lion's head? kind of difficult to tell, given A, the quality of the texture, and B, the level of erosion. The security cobras are still in force here. Welcome back, and welcome to Chapter 3.
Ooh.
We have chased Rajan to his principal drug running, or drug production facility, deep in the mountains.
You mean spice?
Sure. It's a potent, extremely prohibited substance that's derived from a flower grown in South Asia, but yes, spice. Not heroin.
Sugar, spice and everything?
Spice. This is probably one of my least favorite chapters in the franchise. As you can see, and as I've been telling the audience, visually it's kind of drab compared to a lot of the environments we've been to. And it's like you'd think a series this fond of old school adventure and espionage films could take like the sense of wonder and majesty of like exploring an old, long forgotten ruined temple, so common in old school adventure films, and realize it a bit more appealingly.
Also, I have no idea why MC wrote "You Still the Heart of People," but that is so sweet.
Or no, it's because he said I grew up to become a master thief, and I was like, no, master thieves only steal from other criminals, as is the Cooper Code. Even though, like, this universe operates on a very liberal definition of thief. Like, Bentley and Murray are not really thieves. That's not the type of criminal. Yeah. MC, Brady, did you update your Discord link? Sure did, sir.
Because the answer is no.
And also, Clockwork was ostensibly a master thief, even though I don't think he ever stole anything. He was just a immortal owl god. Yeah, see, there you go!
Oh, god damn it, Brady, you didn't update the Discord link in your About page.
Oh, the About page. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've not edited that thing in ages. Does anybody actually use Discord or Twitch About pages?
I don't know, maybe when you're offline.
Alright, yes, so Seth, please explain to our new friends and those who have not heard the situation regarding Palpatine.
Right, so my little kitty Palpatine that's been kind of our mascot for months now, she needs to get spayed by the end of the month. And unfortunately, the veterinarian said that it's gonna be a much more difficult procedure than we anticipated. So it's going to be, instead of just like a simple procedure, it's gonna be a full-on blown surgery with also some follow-up surgeries. And of course, with that, also the expenses are going
considerably
way
higher
too
than
high
expected.
up. Yeah, and some people expressed the wish to help. So all of the tips, donations, bits, subscribes, whatever the heck, is until the end of the month is gonna go all towards Poppy's surgery.
Yes, indeed. And you can donate if you're so inclined through the link posted in chat. No pressure whatsoever, but just, as Seth said, for those members of our community who wanted to do something, that's your avenue through which to do so.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll have to get up there later, or from here. Hold on. Yeah. Oh. We can't climb that, can we? Alright. Oh, we're going to have to do this the boring way, then. There's a lot of vine climbing and grinding in this chapter. Far too much, really. But after this, we get to see the Sly Universe's take on Eastern Europe.
Oh, nice. Where are we going?
We're going to... Well, I'll tell you at the end of the chapter.
It's probably Bulgaria or Romania.
No and no.
Oh, I am Shukov.
And technically, we've, very technically, already been to Russia at the end of the first game. Not like it had any cultural connotations at all, but Clockwork's base was in the Ural Mountains. Swerve says you could get that bottle with triple jump. Oh, I don't doubt it. Also with a proper vine climb and walk, no doubt.
Holy mother of fuck.
Ma'am?
A certain person just donated 100 euros for Poppy.
Jesus Christ, well thank you so much. Wow. That's amazing.
I'm not sure if that person wants me to say that's why, but just so you know, I saw it and thank you very much.
Yeah, that's
Wow,
incredible.
like,
Thank you for
oof.
your generosity.
And I'm just gonna cry for a little bit now, so excuse me.
Ah, yes, of course. In the meantime, we'll just keep playing our silly raccoon game and gathering clue bottles. This is where actually acquiring certain clue bottles, not finding them, but making our way to them and collecting them, starts to get a little tougher. Well, for a time, anyway. I believe navigation is actually much, much easier in chapters 4 and 5, if memory serves me right. Chapter 4, in particular, has a pretty restrained, playing field.
Okay, I'm back alive.
Alright, welcome back, Seth.
Huh.
Oi, oi, oi.
Oh.
You okay?
Yeah. I'm not really a big fan of this level, like the design. It's kind of
No,
bland.
it's not great, and unfortunately we gonna be here a while. Oh, and guess what? More than any other stage or any other chapter in the game, this one is going to involve us running back and forth from one end of the map to the other. Many times.
Backtracking. Because when you run out of ideas for your game, just implement backtracking. Lots of it.
But yeah, this is where we will square off against Rajan ultimately. Do we have enough clue bottles for now? The answer is no, there's never enough until we have them all. Let's see what we have here. There we go. There's one ability we unlock later on that would make navigating this area so much easier. Well, maybe we should just go ahead on to the recon mission. Which, of course, involves infiltrating Rajan's spice factory. Smurfest, what's my favorite episode? In this game, or the series in general? This game. Okay. Oh, my. I want to say it's a pretty even toss-up between episode 5 and episode 7. You could make a case for episode 2 as well. But this game has a lot of high points. Just for reference, for the other games from Sly 1, my favorite stage is probably, oddly enough, the least exotic, which is not in accordance with my usual tastes at all, but Mugshot's Boneyard Casino. In Game 3, it's probably probably a toss-up between chapters 3 through 5. I love them all equally. I think they're all insanely well-designed in different ways and to different ends. And in Thieves in Time, aesthetically, chapter 5, in terms of gameplay and overall design, chapter 2. And yes, my terminology is completely incorrigible, and I will consistently refer to what in-universe are called episodes as chapters. I just cannot help it. Alright, let's break into a drug factory. After we get one more clue bottle. Again, they're like chips, you can never have just one. And also, like chips, if you're just forcing your way through them and you stop at 29, you feel slightly less healthy and just kind of empty inside. You need that full 30. Alright, let's do it.
Into the temple. Now take some recon photos so I can assess the situation. Just be careful. If you get hurt, the nearest hospital is 106 miles from here. According to my map of the area, there should be a hidden passage into the temple behind that waterfall.
Nice work, Bentley. I'll take a hidden
What about you,
passage
Smurf? What's your favorite? Let's see. All we have to do is climb in through a drainage tunnel once again. It's something we've gotten quite good at, I dare say. Also, Seth, just because we're enjoying kind of the darker undertones of this franchise,
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you when or where, but I will say there is a mission where the entire gang gets, like, blackout drunk and murders dozens of people in a bar.
Wow. Okay.
It's incredible. It also occurs in one of the franchise's weaker chapters, but it's easily one of the highlights of its respective game. But right now we're playing as Sly, so we know we're probably not going to be committing too many atrocities, right? We're just doing a little breaking and entering. There we go. As he says, you know, crimes pay. Well, I mean Sly's do, at the very least. I think Murray and Bentley do it just for the love of the art. There we go. Smurf says it's Sly 2, Episode 7, in Sly 3, Episode 4, and in Sly 4, Episode 3. Episode 3 of Sly 4, really now? That's interesting. Generally, we're of a mind, though.
Now, from what I know of photosynthesis, all the expensive equipment should
Yeah, this looks like a drug lab, right?
that access tube should get you up there.
I think I saw this on Breaking Bad once. Oh, hi, guards.
Oh, hi.
Let's go ahead and just see what you've got in that back pocket for us, sir. Oh, just a bronze medal? That's garbage. You're garbage, sir. Oh yeah, we will happily fight you. We've been taking lessons from the others.
Yep. Lessons in murder.
MC says, I think Sly's companions went sliding into the crime side. Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, good one.
They get more and more daunting in their power, their dark power, as the series goes on. I adore them for it. Oh, also, since we chased him, well, we and Carmelita chased him out of the palace, Rajan has gone completely insane, and is spending most of his time just brooding, frothing with rage. So there's all kinds of well-reasoned, respectable criminals here. So we can, like, walk along the spice, or the... I'm not entirely sure what this is. This strange apparatus that appears to just be churning water around, but it doesn't really serve any purpose. Just make sure we don't cross the flashlight guard's sense of Earth's field of vision. Go ahead and pick his pocket, because I mean, why not? Every little bit helps. Then slam him into the ground. Ah, here we have to ride up a bucket. Or ride a bucket upwards, rather. Whoa! But we might also get pegged by the flashlight guard. Nasty. Fortunately, the smoke bomb is incredible. Now, let's see. How are we supposed to avoid that? Does he avert his gaze at certain times? Is there something here I'm missing? No, apparently not. Oh, well. We're trying to get eyes on the Clockwork Heart. That's our main objective right now.
Jump and hit the circle button to go for a ride.
I don't think this is the first time we found rails that we automatically slide along, but the tutorial's there anyway, oddly enough. And up we go, and we reach our vantage point, from which to take a few photos. So there's half of Clockwork's heart.
Half of the heart is being used to super irrigate the spice plants.
Also, notice that the heart is just pumping out, like, concentrated heroin gas into the room. I guess that's one way to live forever. There's a crane, basically a winch, holding the heart aloft.
Is keeping half of the heart suspended.
Some entrance to the room, which we can't do anything with right now.
There's the entrance to this level, only I can't figure out how to get in here from the temple's exterior.
And finally, we notice Rajan himself lugging around the other half of the Clockwork Heart on his staff.
Rajan's carrying half the Clockwork Heart on that stick. Bring those photos back to the safe house. We'll really need to think about this one.
Alright, time for our first slideshow of the chapter. Let's see what the plan is, Bentley. I believe in you, Bentley. Mainly because I'm too afraid to publicly doubt you.
Clockwork Heart is under some steep security. Heck, Rajan is carrying half of it at all times. To get at the goods, I'll need to gather some more information. Sly will plant a bug in Rajan's office, while I lift the spice operation blueprints off the Spice Lord while he makes his rounds. Unfortunately, while we're collecting intelligence on him, he'll be collecting data on us with an elephant-driven satellite array. Take it out, or he'll be able to intercept all of our communications.
Okay, so time for a handful of the more irritating missions in the game. Really quickly, let's sell our loot. We've gathered up a few pieces since we've been here. There we go. And let's start out by playing as Sly, as most of our missions here will feature him. Alright, Luna, we'll see you soon. Enjoy your dinner.
Bye-bye, Luna.
So, first things first, let's bug Rajan's office. That sounds more than doable. Except there's a little gimmick this time around. We're not just running like a painting in there. No, 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 no. Bentley's cooked up an absolutely absurd plan to surveil Rajan. We are going to be bugging the office, but with... hold on. Let's gather some loot first. with this. This is our surveillance device.
Sly, the insect in that pool is a rare Indian water bug. If you can carry it into Rajan's office, its wings will transmit local sound waves at a frequency I can monitor.
Let me get this straight. We're gonna bug Rajan's office with a bug?
It is an elegant plan, I agree. Now pay attention. That water bug can only survive in stagnant pools. If kept out of water too long, it'll become unhappy and likely draw the attention of local guards.
Because a giant insect appearing in your office overnight is not, like, conspicuous in the least.
And should keep our little
Yeah.
friend quiet.
Okay.
I mean, in India... Wait,
This-
this is India, right?
Yes. MC says, "Oh no, do not bug that office, you monster." Oh, well, this is our first Hull ass mission, where we're going to have to go from one end of the compound to the other, with a water bug on our back that dies if we take a single hit while carrying it. You know, as is normal. But here's the thing. See these little pools of water standing all around the map? Well, as Bentley explained, this thing will become distressed and start emitting a piercing cry if it stays out of water for too long, which here means a few seconds. And that will draw the attention of any guards in the vicinity, constantly. So we're having to run it from pool to pool, while also, well, the good news is we can tangle with guards and take damage while it's resting in one of the pools, while also making it all the way across the complex. Here we go. It's a cute idea. I'm not super fond of this mission, if only because it's present in Chapter 3 with a bunch of other ass-hauling missions. Ooh, combo. Smurf says just run there. Oh, no. We're going to do this as intended. If only to show off what kind of the devs intended as the path of progression. Yeah, there it goes. As you can see, we have no time at all to get from pool to pool with this thing. Oh no. Or no, maybe we're supposed to go here, then... Oh, no! Dang it. Yep. I thought we could make it to Ninja Spire Jump there. MC says, by the way, watched a bit of the Banjo-Tooie stream from yesterday. Yeah, it's wearing us down,
Painful.
slowly but surely.
Yeah.
Still better than the first game, I would say, but...
I think that the first game was more consistent in its quality. Oh yeah, Grunty Industries can go fuck itself.
My issue is the second game feels more complete and like it incorporated far more quality of life consideration.
Yeah.
And this is something that carries over with that design team's aesthetic well into Yooka-Laylee. The devs just have either no sense for tedium when they're creating it or incorporating it into their challenges, or they don't see anything wrong with it. Smurf says it's easier and faster to run there. Oh, I know. I just want to demonstrate how this is intended to be done. Well, I say intended to be done. There's a few different paths we can take, I'm pretty sure. Hold on. No. Hush. So from there... to there... MC says, well, you enter the level, and you can without damage until you hit the train track open button, then you take the train in. Yep. As he says, it's rather intuitive in the setup. I don't think we agree, do we, Seth?
No, like, the issue that I have with it is that almost at the start of every level, the first thing that you do is somehow find the button to call the train in. but in no other level you have to actually take the train into the place.
Normally you use it to ferry objects around from one stage to the other, exclusively.
Yeah.
And generally...
I mean, honestly, it is a smart thing. It's a smart setup, for sure, but considering none of the game worked that way up until that point, and considering that it's kind of like targeted towards children, I think it's just way too... I don't know, too much.
Obtuse, maybe.
Yeah.
Again, the biggest issue I'm having with Banjo-Tooie at this point is every single Jiggy requires the completion of, as I said, about a 30-step quest line to acquire. Or most of them do. And that's kind of absurd for such a small payout, you know?
It's like with the Dino Lady with her 3 kids. So you have to like save 3 of her kids, you get a Jiggy, and then even Kazooie says, can we get another Jiggy considering that we, you know, went through so much? And she's like, no. So it feels kind of like the devs were aware that the amount of stuff you have to do for a single Jiggy is a bit bleh.
Absurd in some cases, yeah. Somehow we've gotten every guard in the complex onto us, but thankfully,
Yeah.
with a little bit of hiding and a couple smoke bombs, we'll be fine. MC says, well, in almost all levels you're one room away from the train tracks. This one's direct. This is why I see the intuitiveness in it, but the rest is a lot of backtracking. And I did warn you about that. Well, yeah, I wasn't expecting it to get so bad so quickly.
Yeah, I agree. And it was off to a very good start. I mean, the first 2 levels were really good.
And if I may,
And
a lot of the
third
issues
as well.
I see aren't really with backtracking, like going from one level to another. Those Jiggies are actually fairly simple, if requiring a little bit of time. It's the ones that require you to go to, like, 10 different locations within the same world 2 or 3 different times.
And come back.
Yeah, usually without any clear signposting as to what you're supposed to do when.
Yeah.
Again, like I said, I don't think Rare, or that team, because it is present in Banjo, or Ukulele as well, is very good at acknowledging or, no, drop the bug off, detecting tedium in their games as a pain point where it arises.
I mean, you did kind of say that you feel like they were doing the game not on the computer, but on a photocopy machine with their butts on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think instead of office chairs, they just all sit on copiers and, like, photocopy their butt cheeks, because that's the height of refined adult comedy, according to the Rareware staff. I don't know, it feels like they've got a knack for world building after a certain sense, but they're not very good at making a game. Compared to, well, a lot of other innovators of 3D platformers. It feels kind of rough. Really rough. And Ukulele feels equally rough. MC says collectathons have inherent tedium in them. No, not at all. The very best of them, either allow players to collect as many objects within reason as they feel they need to, or they make acquiring each object feel sufficiently engaging, entertaining, like an accomplishment, if that makes sense.
I think that Banjo-Kazooie had the perfect amount of, like, you know, collecting stuff and level size and whatever, only if it has the quality of life changes from Banjo-Tooie. So, like, not having all the nodes reset, for example.
And some things like the first-person segments, I think, are really cute and quite a lot of fun. Okay, we've made it to Rajan's office, so we could just book it. Yay. For instance, Mario Odyssey is a collectathon, fundamentally, and it's not tedious in the least, in my experience. Certain collectathon elements are present in Psychonauts, but they never feel daunting, nor like the focus of what you're doing. And MC says, well, this is why you have people who preferred Kazooie over Tooie.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess.
Now I get it.
But my final verdict after seeing most of both games played through is neither of them are really all that good, in my opinion. Like, cute, and with a lot of great ideas, but as games, no. There was stuff available on the market at that time that was much better. Okay, so we made it to Rajan's office. We've destroyed everything. All stealthy-like, don't you know? And I've never noticed that his office is open air before. Have a look. Huh. Anyhow, we're just going to drop the annoying little bug off there, and that's one of the worst stages in the game completed. And yes, we are going to use the vibrations of the bug's wings to somehow monitor Rajan's communications. And it really works. This is also where our vault is. For reference, once we gather all of our clue bottles, which I may do off-stream between today and Sunday. Whew. NC says, I'd like you to try Ukulele in the Impossible Lair. Oh, I know, it's a very different kind of game. It's entirely different. I hate to say that about a studio's entire catalog, but like the Rareware / Playtonic team, I don't really like their stuff, like, at all. But, we also mentioned, Seth, the other day, I can definitely see how people who grew up with that, especially as kids, would have a real fondness for it. What's the one they made that was, like, notorious for its kind of clunky design? Donkey Kong 64, wasn't it? Where there were, like, 800 different kinds of collectibles, and what's more, you could only collect each item was, individual item, I mean, out in the world, was color-coded, and you could only collect them, even if they had nothing to do with abilities or what have you, with, the corresponding playable character out of 5. So you basically had to run through and do a full collectathon case of each stage 5 different times. Oof. It's a shame, because that game's soundtrack, phenomenal. Visually, for the N64, it's a real treat. I actually have it. I grew up with that game. But it is awful. MC says it's a collectathon still, just more focused, and says, Brady, if you dislike Rare Collection, do you dislike Sea of Thieves? I have no real strong opinion on it. I think the fact that they're adding in, like, Pirates of the Caribbean tie-in content is really, really cool, because I am a sucker for that franchise. But generally speaking, it's cute, but not my thing. Trust me, if you want to see some quality pirate-based gameplay, just stick around. This channel will bring you some in very short order. MC says they also made Star Fox Adventures. Oh, I know. I grew up with Star Fox Adventures. That was my first Star Fox game. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't great either. Okay, now let's focus on destroying Rajan's really sophisticated satellite array over here. That is some top quality technology, isn't it, Seth? This is how he's spying on us.
Rajan is able to monitor all of our communications out here with that elephant-driven satellite array.
That's pretty grim. You got a plan for shutting it down?
Don't I always? Now, the local spice plants are illegal for good reason. Eat too many, and you'll go into a...
Oh yeah, I can't believe I forgot to mention them. The Spyro games are also collectathons, and I didn't find them boring or tedious in the least.
Yeah.
I loved those. Okay, so now, Zeph, how are we going to destroy this elephant-driven satellite array?
Scare the elephants with mice?
We're going to feed it straight-up heroin.
Oh, okay.
We've got to gather some
Spyro
spice
3
plants.
MC.
The skateboard was frustrating. It was not tedious, however. Tedium would be like if I had to do that, if it was simple and I had to do it, like, every other stage. Perfect example of tedium in, like, game design would be the Balan bouts from Balan Wonderworld. The same exact thing over and over again 40-some-odd times, over the course of the game. That was rough. So what we have to do is pick some spice plants, very potent spice plants, from the uppermost reaches of the temple, and then deposit them in the elephant's feed bag so it will, embark on a very, very bad trip and destroy the satellite array. MC says, you know what Sly Cooper lacks? Nothing.
Skateboards.
Nothing, We have rail grinding, that's close enough. It's basically the same thing.
It doesn't have wheels.
Well, no, but we get to control many things on wheels over the course of the franchise. That's close enough. Boop. Okay. Sorry for my somewhat slow progression through this chapter, as I'm sure you could see. A lot of the frustration arises from it just taking ages to get anywhere in this one. And just as an FYI, this kind of navigation, or this kind of somewhat impeded navigation, will not be an issue anywhere else in the game. Because we get a couple really solid navigational abilities over the next couple of stages, or chapters, that will allow Sly to get anywhere very, very easily. Welcome back, Luna.
Come back.
MC said bottle top of tree. I know, I can't get to it right now, though. There's quite a lot of them we can't get to right now. And that's because...
You don't have triple jump?
Nope.
Want bottle. MC, you might have a problem.
Spice plant. There we go. 1 of 6. Now, one of them is on top of the hideout. Of course. There we go. Whoa! Or I thought it was. Perhaps not. Oh! No, here we go. It's been a while, friends. Okay, that's a third of the heroin we need. There's a bottle, another one we can't get to quite yet, unfortunately. We have to access most of the treetops or the kind of isolated treetops in the westernmost section of the compound from this white tower, which bears a number of vines connecting it to said treetops. So, let's make use of it really quickly. Ooh, somebody's got treasure. Not a lot of coins, but treasure. There we go! It's an onion ring. Good. Just what I always wanted. Now let's climb our way up. This is how we'll get most of those missing bottles. Like so. Oh, it's always so satisfying to crack one with the cane, isn't it? Here we've got more of the good stuff. Oh, and Seth, get ready, or chat, get ready as well, I suppose, because feeding things extremely potent drugs in order to advance the plot is actually a fairly frequent element in this game. Maybe the Cooper clan is only able to operate under the blessings of Viper, who knows. MC says, fortunately, Conker's Bad Fur Day is not a collectathon. Is it not? That'd make it the only one of the really well-known Rareware games from, like, the late 90s, or early 2000s that wasn't. In some capacity or another. MC says it does have some obscure stuff that I'll do my best to help along, though. Alrighty. I think our last plant was on the easternmost side of the temple, so we'll have to run along a different path to lay hands on it. But first things first, bottles. What's up? And goodbye. Oh, there's a treasure up here. Righteous, righteous. What's over here, though? Ah, nothing we can really make use of. We found our last 2 treasures for the chapter, though. They're right next to each other. One of them's booby-trapped, and one of them is not, I believe. Down we go. Yeah, the scroll case is definitely booby-trapped. Whoa, 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 whoa. Our bottle was over here. That's right. Now, where's our last few bottles? I know where the last spice plant is. Oh, well, there's one. Directly underneath the elephant's maw. Okay, so our last plant should be... Oh, over there. Alright, well, let me just grab a clue bottle before we head on over. I know I'm incorrigible, but I've gotta get them. Or, more specifically, I've gotta get the moves. You get some good stuff from those vaults. There we go.
Oh my god, my neighbors are so loud.
Are they drilling?
No, having a party.
Ah, I see. Of course. Well, I mean... Now that...
It's Friday evening, so fuck it.
Yeah. It's Friday, fuck it season.
On the... Yeah, it's they're on the terrace, like two floors above me, on the balcony. So that's why I can hear them, but...
As long as they're not on the playground.
Yeah, on the playground. No.
Yes, he says, Seth, you could have a party too. That's right!
I am gonna have one.
Order you some dominoes and just go crazy.
Woohoo! Yeah, so I need to plan it today for next week.
Well, I mean, clearly you're already at the best party in town.
Apparently.
Watching a perennially exhausted 23-year-old teacher play an ancient raccoon game.
Could always be worse. Hey, what's that? Says Luna. Political party. Yes.
He said political party. Oh, yeah, I've worked for one of those.
We're gonna bring down the oppression.
Seriously, did I tell you guys I actually worked for like a national campaign in the 2016 election?
For Trump?
No, God no. For Secretary Clinton, and well, I volunteered technically, but ended up like coordinating voter outreach efforts in my county because everybody else just gave up. You know you're in good shape when you leave everything to the intern. Luna says, I don't know if I ever went to a real party. Some of them are alright, most of them are kind of boring. Being honest, it depends on who's there, of course, but... I hear the bottle. I hear the trademark tink, 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 tink of a bottle. Oh, is it up in the treetop? No, that's... Ah! Aha! It's on the vine! Hold on. Bottle. Botle. MC says, no party like a LAN party. There you go. Oh, we're going to have to access that from the bridge. Oh, well. Let's get the spice. And now let's go feed an innocent creature a ton of heroin.
Collected till the elephants feed back.
Seth, I have to wonder, do you think Viper's lab looks anything like this?
It probably has more swag.
I like to think, though, that he does have anthropomorphic animal guards patrolling with, like, spears and daggers, though. Like the island of Dr. Moreau, or something.
Yeah.
Don't worry, friends, the second batch of stages in this chapter is actually far superior to the first. These first few are kind of long and very tedious, relative to the pace we're used to in Sly games. So let's just jack up the chow, and behold! Look at the poor goat guard, just getting yoked off of the bridge. Now let's grab that friggin' clue bottle. If only I could remember how to get onto the bridge easily. You see what I mean, friends? There are very specific paths we often have to take for the time being just to get to individual little causeways. Not like out-of-the-way platforms or anything like that, but just big open parts of the level like this. And it says, yeet. Yep, indeed. We yoed him. Now, however, things actually get kind of interesting and more than a little dangerous. We have to pickpocket Rajan.
Oh no.
And oddly enough, Bentley's going to do it. How, you may ask? Well, with the power of gluttony, of course. Oh, wait a moment. While we're here, we can head back up to Rajan's office and grab our special move. So let's do that. We're going to be getting a lot of time in as Sly this chapter, but don't worry. Starting in Chapter 4, we'll see quite a bit more gameplay from the other guys. Which is how I prefer it in this franchise, when you actually play as the members of the Cooper Gang in fairly equal measure. There we are. Boing. And into the office. Quote-unquote office. Into the supposed office. Alright. No real way to disable these security lasers. We've just got to be kinda, sorta careful. That counts as careful, apparently.
Sanskrit, or this last code would have been impossible. Try 386.
3, 8, 6. Alright, what we got? Ah! An electrified cane technique. Alright, I'm behind that.
Voltage attack move.
This, I'm pretty sure, will allow Sly to kill just about any enemy in a single strike. Much as if we were playing as Murray. Which, don't worry, Murray will get his chance to shine in this chapter. He gets one, unfortunately, kind of boring mission. Then he gets one of the best moments in the game. Luna says he'll become Murray Cooper. Yeah, there you go. In fact, hold on. Let's, we'll have an opportunity to try this out before too long, don't you worry. Like so. Beautiful. And, wow, it's even an instant kill on flashlight guards. Okay, Sly is now effectively immortal in combat. Good to know. into the hut. Let's sell what loot we've acquired. We've gotten a couple hundred worth. And now, friends, give me a minute to go grab a new drink and move some towels from the washer to the dryer, and I will be right back. Give us about 3 minutes. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hope you're enjoying the stream so far.
Spice production is up 10% over last month. Good. I'm Rajan, Master and Lord of... No. I am Lord Rajan, Master of Spice, Emperor of Terror. Yes, much better.
You will become Murray Cooper.
It is good to be in the jungle. So cool. I have the desire to hunt. Tomorrow I will train with the monkeys to keep my staff technique keen. Steal from me? From me? I have taken care of bigger rodents than him. This Kuba gang will be crushed by monkey, by rhino, or by tiger. $1,024, $1,025, $1,026, $1,027. What do you mean Dimitri has ceased ordering spice? We need to order more barrels to transport the spice to North America. I don't care if they're pulling double shifts. Keep those guards patrolling at all times. What's this I see in my meditation? A bug? I know your true use. You will work well to eat those pesky mosquitoes. The clockwork heart is in the most secure place. With me. Chase off any members of the black market you see. They have no right to work in my territory. Inspector Fox will pay for driving me from my opulent palace. I should be pulling the claw. I'm the source. I'm the supplier. Without me, their silly tinkering would go nowhere. The monkeys are restless this night. They serve their master well. These cobras seem to pop up everywhere. Get rid of them already. The dance was going so well, so grand, until that ragged raccoon. Maybe I'll have just a little spice. I can't trust all these rhino guards. I heard some are dipping into the spice. I want your assurance that the parameter is secure, Captain Manos. I can't trust all these rhino guards. I heard some are dipping into the spice.
Yeah, Brady just went to
What's this I see in my
get a
meditation?
drink.
Alright.
A bug?
Whew.
I know your
There he
true
comes.
use.
We're back.
Well to eat those pesky mosquitoes.
Luna's asking, is everything okay? Did something happen, Zeph, or?
No.
Yeah, no, everything's fine. We were just on break. Now we have to finish things up with, main man Bentley going to pickpocket Rajan, who is one of the strongest villains. Oh, Luna says, no, all the noise there were on your house. No, I was just moving a load of towels from my washer to my dryer. Both of which are located quite close to the area where I stream, so you could probably hear all of that very quick, or very loudly. No big deal. Everything's fine. As he says, Brady defeating assassins on a stream break. Ooh, yeah, that paper mill was not happy. Have to watch my back, you know. MC says totally normal. Yeah, no, MC can vouch that, things banging and clanging around while I'm trying to do housework during stream breaks is extremely common. Let's get a little bit of loot. Might as well, right? As you've seen, upgrades become significantly more expensive with every chapter, so we want to have a nice, healthy little nest egg built up.
As I expected, Rajan is out for his daily tour of the operation. My sources claim he always carries 3 blueprints on him, which, when read together, tell you everything about his spice operation.
Too bad he doesn't have...
Now, forget about the fact that Rajan has all of his actual drug manufacturing and refining equipment indoors. He's touring the operation by just patrolling his grounds.
Rajan has an insatiable appetite for Indian watermelons, which, if eaten whole, will force even him to nod off for a while. Once he's asleep, I'll creep in and lift the blueprints.
That's fine and all, but how do you plan on luring him over to the watermelons?
I've equipped my sleep darts with a sonic disruptor. The strange sounds they make should be enough to lead the ever-curious Rajan from place to place.
Yeah, so what we've got to do, as the boys just explained, was use our darts to lead Rajan to these watermelons scattered throughout the stage. He will then eat one in a single gulp, pass out for a few seconds, and give us just enough time to run in, lift one of the 3 blueprints of his operation off of him. Notice he does not have the clockwork heart, unfortunately. And get the hell out very, very quickly. There we go. Now we've got to hoof it before being made. And fortunately, we just barely did so. Oh no, you don't. The bridge is probably our best vantage point for this. So let's lure our guy, whoop, down. Oh, was that too far? Okay. Down. Trying to gauge the effective distance on these things. There he goes. That's it. That's the way, big fella. There you go. And time to run, because as you see, he wakes up almost instantly. Woo! Woo! this can serve as our final perch. Oh no, Rajan. Oh no, you don't. Up you come. There we go. Down you go. Unfortunately, it'll also lure nearby guards, so Rajan unintentionally forms a kind of perimeter, security perimeter around himself. You'll also notice, since this is our first time kind of seeing him in close proximity to any of the Cooper gang, Rajan, despite his fairly average-looking frame, is very, very large. This is going to be important later on. No, 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 you didn't see me, you didn't see me. Oh, God! What happened to the camera? What? There we go. Let's hope we can make it in time. There we go! Kinda tough due to some technical difficulties at the last second there, but we got all of his blueprints. And Rajan just leaps straight out of the area. Must have learned a trick or two from Murray. Alright, on to our second ring of missions in this rather bland chapter. This is where it does get much better, though.
Rajan has gone into hiding somewhere in the temple. I guess the destruction of his satellite array and my invasion of his personal space to get the blueprint spooked him. To get his portion of the Clockwork Heart, we'll need to drive him out into the open. Given Rajan's spice-addled temper, I'd recommend making him angry.
Oh, so he's high all the time. Right, of course.
Oh, of course.
Then we'll demolish the dam above the temple in an attempt to flood him out. If that doesn't work, I've made arrangements to exchange one of the temple's facade rubies for some high explosives, which, if necessary, we can use to flood the whole temple grotto. If my psychological profile is accurate, Rajan should pick up the other half of the Clockwork Heart before making his escape, effectively bringing it to us.
Right, so our plan here is very simple, Seth. Did you catch any of that? Are you watching on Twitch or Discord?
No, I'm watching on Discord, so I didn't.
Okay. What do you think the plan is for, like, just getting Rajan out of the way so we can get the Clockwork Heart?
Get him as high as possible.
We're going to destroy most of the temple and flood the entire complex to chase him out.
Oh, of course.
Remember, this is not, like, just some drug lab. This is like an ancient, completely legitimate Indian temple. Sly don't give a shit. He's going full Nathan Drake on this. You know how it goes in the Uncharted series, right? You get to see beautiful, exotic, supernatural locales, and then immediately destroy them. Okay, let's go do Nila's secret first. It's the one stage that we didn't receive a mention of in the briefing. It's very, very simple, but it might be just a little tricky for me to actually do, because it's a fairly tight, pseudo-timed platforming course along this fairly difficult-to-navigate temple map. Apologies if this has been a bit dull for you, Seth and chat, but I promise things really pick up with Chapter 4.
Thanks for not ratting me out back at the ball.
Oh, I should be thanking you. The look
It's
on
better.
Carmen's face was
Oh, I'm fine.
priceless.
Again, we get to see what the Sly Cooper universe version of Eastern Europe looks like.
Look, Nila,
Oh, yeah.
as soon as this India job is over, why don't you and I go out on the town? We'll dance through Bollywood and eat curry all night long.
I'll keep it in mind. But first, the task at hand. I've learned of a secret entrance leading to half of the Clockwork Heart. Legally, I can't enter the premises.
Yeah, so Nila's going to lead us to, that entrance to Rajan's,
Wherever he pleases.
spice nursery.
Behind while I lead you to the entrance. This place is
That we can then use, of course, to grab half of the clockwork heart.
I hear that, sister.
And, Seth, just to get us ready for chapters 4 and 5, so far,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, every setting has used, like, the Saturday morning, cartoon aesthetic stereotypes to let us know
Yeah.
what part of the world we're in, but I mean, like, when you saw the American stages in Sly 1, you thought, oh yeah, that was supposed to be the US, with the
Yeah.
exception of Haiti, which was a mess. But it was like, oh, that looks like Imperial China, this looks like France, this looks like India, right?
Yeah.
Just keep that in mind. All we have to do is follow Nila once again, just as we did in Chapter 1. And again, don't have to worry about any guards, any obstacles. She will neutralize them with her whip immediately. This little course is quite a bit longer than the first, but that's the only real difference. There we go. Almost there, I think. Yep, yes indeed. There we go!
This is it. And
Yeah,
remember,
totally inconspicuous secret entrance.
I never showed you this door.
Very
Not like there's
Wow.
not like there's a giant button there or
And
anything.
you're on for that date in
Yeah.
Bali.
So yeah,
And,
Constable
like, the entire
Nila
outline.
is a way friendlier Interpol agent than the others, isn't she? Actually
Yeah.
helpful, using the Cooper gang to,
There it is. Just
through
like we
extra-legal means, bring down the Claw gang, kind of employing us as pseudo-legal auxiliaries. I like it.
Oh, I'm sure these guards won't mind if I borrow their keys.
Now, all we gotta do here, friends, is pick the pockets of both of these guards, grab our keys, then use them to lower the clockwork heart. Then we're done here. I actually genuinely love the interior segments of this chapter's missions. Unfortunately, compared to a lot of the other chapters, I'm sure you've noticed they're relatively few and far between. It's not just me, right? Like, Seth and MC, you've been along for most of the
Yeah.
ride. It seems like we're spending way more time in the overworld in this chapter than is usual.
Yep. Yep.
Which is a shame, because its overworld also happens to be the worst. I need to find a way around so that we can get behind the second Rhino guard. Maybe using these.
Come.
Time to ride another bucket. We could access that little walled-off area behind, like, the force field down there to get at a couple briefcases full of coins, but we've got enough money. This is where the magic happens, though. This is like the heart of Rajan's operation. If by magic, I mean heroin, of course. And look, as soon as we unlock the heart, it explodes and kills the guards. They just got too high, too fast.
That's it. Half the
Isn't it kind of strange, too, that half of Clockwork's heart is an entire heart, like anatomically rendered
Yeah.
heart?
Yep.
Well, he was big. He was big, and also, like, possessed none of his original flesh. Maybe he needed two.
Yeah.
Maybe he had redundant organs, like the Krogan. That was a quick and easy mission, yeah?
Yeah.
Like I said, this batch is much better than the first. But next up we're doing the other kind of boring mission here, rip off the ruby. Which is going to require us to steal one of the decorative rubies from the temple's facade and sell it to a black market dealer in exchange for high-powered explosives. Because Sly and the gang are definitely the good guys. Let's see, we're going to have to use the network of vines to access the top of the temple. Oh, but first, loot, 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 loot. Oh, gold ring, nice. Getting lots of rings here, ain't we? Now, I think this is the only game in the franchise where you have to go into a menu to, like, sell looted items. From Sly 3 on, I'm pretty sure you just automatically receive a number of coins equivalent to the value of whatever you've stolen. Which, I mean, makes perfect sense to me.
Absolutely.
Just a tiny quality of life measure. I mean, like, why would you not sell something, right? The objects serve no other purpose. Let's see if I can't find the right one. Oh! Yeah, we have to, like, platform our way all the way around here, don't we? Yep. And that's how we get to the top of the temple. I mean, this is a pretty great course for rail grinding and walking, but not exactly the easiest or the most enjoyable to navigate around, like when you're trying to get to a mission. Be really interested to see what, like, a Sly 2 speedrun would look like, though. I'm sure folks have developed some insane strats for these games over the years. Alright, let's steal a ruby. In other words, let's loot.
Cherry Bomb 500. That's a lot of kick.
Trust me, we'll need it. To get that ruby free from its moorings, you might have to whack it a few times with your cane.
I'm on it.
Luna says, I'm sure AGDQ would have done it. Oh, I'm sure they have, several times probably. Okay, so all we have to do is whack the gem a few times and send it crashing down the stairs. Now, little fake out, this is not really a Sly mission. It's a Murray mission. And I can't believe I'm about to say this, but this is a Murray mission where Murray is not expected to, or in fact even really wanted to kill anything. I mean, he will. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong for a second. But it's not his goal. Instead, we're using his mammoth strength to get the ruby from point A to point B without sustaining too much damage. Real quick, let's show off that Juggernaut toss. Anything we throw now explodes on contact with a surface or an enemy. Like so. Murray is so powerful, it's only kinda funny. And notice his Juggernaut toss and ridiculous Herculean leap have absolutely no energy cost whatsoever. He can use them indefinitely, for he is the one true Murray. Oops. Swim is apparently the one thing the hippopotamus can't do, unfortunately. Luna says, not expected to kill. First thing he does is explode someone into oblivion. Well, yeah, but it's not an objective this time. He's doing it because he can, not because he must. Like I said, Murray and Bentley do what they do for the love of the art at this point. Let's run our way along the bridge. Sculpted into, like, the trunk of this elephant.
Murray, you can pick up the ruby with your stomp move. Despite its size, that rock is really fragile. Bentley will run ahead and inflate cushions that are safe to throw the ruby onto. Use them, but this operation's a bust.
He's a serial
head out to
killer.
our rendezvous
Well,
near the waterfall.
What are you up to, Seth?
Practicing my riffle shuffle.
Nice.
Yeah, like 2 hours ago I was like, oh, I'm never gonna learn this. This is so complicated. My fingers hurt, and now I'm like, that was the sound of shuffling.
I want to learn how to shuffle and deal cards really smoothly and professionally. So yeah, this ruby is very fragile, and if we take any damage while carrying it, of course it'll shatter, and we will have to retry the mission from the last checkpoint. Sensing a general theme in this chapter's missions, what we have to do is use our Herculean might to throw it onto cushions that Bentley inflates for us, so we can make our way around the complex to multiple appraisers, and ultimately a buyer.
I don't know, these missions are really not,
They kind of seem like an afterthought, some of them, yeah?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's because...
Like a fart in the wind.
Keep in mind, this is after the first 2 chapters, which had excellent missions.
Yeah.
NC says at least it has auto-aiming? Yeah.
True.
Agreed, absolutely. There's a little bit of aim assist with throws involving, I want to say, any kind of mission objective items. So, like, if Murray has to damage something by chucking objects at it, I think there's a little bit of aim assist engaged there. And if he has to throw something from point A to point B to progress, like in the case of this ruby, aim assist kicks in as well.
Hello, potato.
Howdy, howdy. How's it going? Alright, we were
Potato,
able to...
tomorrow Brady is not gonna be available, so...
I'm
I
sorry,
cannot do
yeah.
the challenge dungeons with him. If that was your plan.
I'll be...
Oh, we'll think of something.
I'll be out of town for the day, I'm sorry. Oh dear.
It's fine.
Time for Murray to do what he does best, since we've got guards in pursuit. Sending them to hell! At this point, the Cooper Gang have committed so many atrocities, like, well, Cooper Gang, Murray and Bentley have committed so many atrocities that we're not even keeping track.
War crimes.
Look, Murray now has earned an upgrade that causes anything he throws to explode on contact, guards included.
Oh shit, isn't that against the Geneva Convention?
I'm pretty sure. I'm also pretty sure Murray can't spell Geneva, so it's fine.
I'll be just back in a minute.
Alright.
Fine.
Alright, we've gotta make it over to the next cushion as quickly as possible. MC says flight of the nightly potatoes.
Oh my god.
Oh, is this it? Is this the end of the mission? I think so.
I must say, the Cooper Gang certainly lives up to its reputation. This is a true Indian treasure. We will honor the bargain and provide a cherry bomb 500 at the time the turtle requested.
What kind of accent is that even supposed to be that these strange, completely plot irrelevant black market dealers are affecting? I mean, clearly it's not any real world dialect. What is it? What are they trying to be though? MC says Geneva. With like a little smiley face and crayon next to it. Yeah, that would be Murray, alright. He's too pure. Too pure for a murder machine. Anyhow, next up, we're going to take control of Sly, I believe, and destroy Rajan's spice grinder. Down in the great cocaine refinery. Hey, Pot!
God,
Thank you so much for
Pot!
the raid, man. Good evening. Hope you're doing well.
Pot.
And hello to all of our friends just now joining us from his stream. It's a pleasure to see y'all, and thanks so much for your patronage. We are just
So
playing
many people
through
coming over.
some of my favorite games from childhood. My first time touching this series in a long, long while.
Yeah.
Lots of people swear by, like, who grew up with platformers swear by Crash or Spyro, classic Mario or Sonic.
back.
But for me, alright. In my case, it's Sly. This is the platforming or pseudo-platforming franchise I grew up with that is nearest and dearest to my heart. So I hope you guys all enjoy it as much as I do. Todd says Brady's been touching things. Well, of course, all the time. Quite difficult to host a Twitch stream if you never get hands on nothing. And yes, I know you're going for a double meaning, you. Also, seriously though, before we get into this next mission, to those of you who are unaware, Seth's cat Palpatine, who has been an informal mascot to the Overanalyst Network ever since she came into the world, effectively, will be getting spayed at the end of the month. Obviously, that's normally a quite routine medical procedure, but due to some unforeseen complications, the procedure is going to be more intricate than expected, require considerably more medical intervention, and as such, the costs of the operation will be higher as a result. I just wanted to share a link, which is being posted in chat, that you can access to donate directly to Seth and Palpatine to help cover the additional costs of that surgery. If you want to support the network financially with your charity in any way during this month, that would be the way to do it. Over subs, over donation, or cheers, any of that. That would be the way. So, just something to consider. If you would like to contribute, we greatly appreciate it. But remember, we appreciate and love you all totally regardless. We just love you for being here. So, thank you. Thank you for your time. I'm not very good at doing ad reads for donations and things like that, but I thought I'd do what I can to help. Hey, Lady Underjoyed. Good evening, ma'am. How are you doing? Good evening, listen to me. Good morning, still, for you, I believe. Or immediately good afternoon. There we go. I'll get it eventually. I know my time zones. What y'all talking about?
Near the spice grinding facility. However, the passage is blocked by those laser fences.
Looks like they're using TNT to create these catacombs. Maybe I can borrow some to destroy the fences. You're the demolitions expert. How am I supposed to use that stuff?
Oh, Pot says old news, she's with me here. Oh, okay, so good evening to y'all then.
To your target, jump out and get clear of the blast radius. But be careful around floor lasers, Sly. The TNT barrels won't work on them.
Attention guards. Make sure all laser fences are operational to protect the spice grinder.
Okay, so this stage introduces a mechanic we'll see a couple more times throughout the course of the series. Welcome back.
Same.
Hey guys, so, you remember those barrels we hid in and used to, absorb, turret gunfire in the first game?
Yeah.
Well, they're back, but now they're explosive. They're lined with TNT,
Nice.
and as soon as we jump out of a barrel this time, it begins to count down toward detonation. We're going to use these TNT barrels to, remove several of Rajan's security measures here in the spice refinery.
Nice.
And
You're
remember,
like doing explosive solid snake.
it's spice and definitely not heroin, even though it's certainly heroin. Now we got some spotlights.
Is it a spice refinery or a spiceria?
Ooh. I think if you eat too much, you might get spiceria. I'm not sure though. So there's our target.
Visual range of the spice grinder. What's
Rajan's Spice Grinder.
Come out of hiding while spice is still being
What we need to do is run a barrel of TNT right into the path of that thing and blow the entire facility sky high.
stick around the temple.
great? We do the world a favor and Rajan's forced out into the open.
Start by getting a hold of that TNT down there. It's worth mentioning that
Remember, the Claw Gang are essentially an international drug cartel, so if we take Rajan out of the picture,
Explosive disguise.
they're effectively done for, or living on borrowed time. MC says, potatoes with spices, a great deal. Now maybe if you get like some sweet potatoes with cinnamon or something like that, yeah, I could get behind that. Let's start off. Whoa! No, sir, you did not see me. You did not. That guard was able to hear the sound of the other one hitting the floor from a bit farther away than I would have expected. Nasty. We'll have to do just a little bit of work down here on the ground floor in order to access the spice grinder. First things first, though, let's relieve this gentleman of his coin before we relieve him of his life. As you do.
Can't you just, like, rub his corpse?
They drop some coins, but not as many as if you pickpocket them. This series rewards thorough, time-invested thievery. Then murder.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
Killing people makes some of their money disappear.
Of course, because they take it to the grave, as we all know rich people do.
Well, no, because apparently this universe operates on, like, MMO logic, where you lose 10% of your funds or whatever when you die. Let's just gather up all the coins. By the way, as long as we're in India, so across both Chapter 2 and 3, coins will be stamped with Rajan's logo.
Woohoo.
Now, where's our TNT? There we are! First things first, let's blow this vault open to get a little bit of extra cash. Oh, technically that gave us a completion point? I guess because it was a quote-unquote secret area directly across from the TNT storage? Fine. I'm okay with that, because it's in my favor. How are you doing tonight, Potato?
Doing great. I mean, I'm being cooked slowly, but otherwise doing great.
I'm waiting for this heat wave to end, but there's like no end in sight, you know?
I am freezing. I have 2 shirts on.
I wish I could
Greg
be
would do
freezing
in a
right now,
heartbeat.
Seth.
Yeah.
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 I vastly prefer the extreme cold to the extreme heat.
Yep.
And I live in Tennessee, so poor me.
It's
Yeah,
much easier
you
to put
fucked
clothes on than to remove clothes when there's nothing else to remove.
Shut up, Potato. But yeah, you're right.
Okay, I opened up a little shortcut. That's nice. And maybe this will give us access to Rajan's spice refinery? No, not yet. Hold on. We have to run one of these barrels quite a long way. MC says, Potato, just remove the skin.
No, potatoes do not like being peeled.
No, they don't.
We don't find it appealing.
Oh man, you already missed the Slykel Jackson pun.
Yeah.
There's not gonna be another rhythm minigame, so that one's going in the vault. You also missed this, like, protracted diatribe of me and Seth just expositing about how we don't really like either of the Banjo-Kazooie games.
Yeah. It was a whole rant.
Nice.
Now all we have to do is avoid the guard's line of sight. Remember, as long as we're stationary, they will not detect us in the magically shifting barrel of TNT. And make our way to the other side of the spice grinder. Yay. Now all we have to do is place this sucker straight in the path of the spice grinder. MC says, but potato in a sauna gives amazing results. Oh, I'm sure. Alright, let's see. Here we go!
What's going on down there? Looks like spice production has fallen behind. Wait, it's completely stopped.
And with that, we have taken Rajan's heroin production operation off the board. Yeah, somehow this entire temple complex all boiled down to one wheel grinding spice in this room. Whatever, I said Rajan was strong and intimidating, not necessarily smart.
Smart.
Let's get all of those coins, for we will need them. And now it's down to Bentley. And, you know what it means when we control Bentley, right, guys? Do good things, do things that we would be proud to tell our grandmothers happen when we control Bentley or Murray? Luna says, not heroin, spice win. Izzy says, the game makes you do it once to avoid tedium, and you complain about logic? Well, no, I'm just thinking, like, this place is massive! And he's using the space so poorly. Now think about this, MC. We could have had several totally stage-unique platforming sections spread out across multiple missions to dismantle the spice operation, instead of the rather bland open-world content we had for the first half of the chapter. And that would have been a marked improvement. Oh, yeah. Anyhow, as Bentley, we're going to have to access some really heavy artillery and blow the dam overlooking the temple to smithereens in order to flood the entire ancient, fairly well-preserved temple complex.
Brady's like, he's using the space so poorly. If he was doing it better, he could be making 3 times as many drugs as he is now.
Absolutely! As an acolyte of Viper, it's an insult. It's an affront.
Life of Viper.
Viper could achieve 15 times the production Rajan has with no space.
15 times the production, but half of that would have to go just to Viper.
That's right. Obviously, he uses it to fuel his eldritch powers. See, he knows every spell in, like, the player's handbook, but the component for each, in his case alone, is just crack.
The component pouch is just a crack pouch.
Where?
Alright, so, yeah, beautiful, ancient, well-preserved Indian temple. Not for long, because Bentley's in the house. And soon there will be no house.
Tigers have an aversion to water. By destroying that dam, the temple will be filled with a runoff.
Flooding them out, huh? Good plan. But I don't think your bombs are strong enough to do the job.
You're correct. Fortunately, while monitoring the bug in Rajan's office, I overheard that a new autopilot attack helicopter had just arrived. It's sitting inside this truck.
Stay sharp. That dam is sure to be well protected.
Yeah, so Bentley's going to start flying now a massive drone and use it to bring down the dam. Look at this thing!
Damn.
Oh, we're also going to have to shoot down an entire fleet of Rajan security choppers. Which are a little bit more durable than, the Robo-Falcons from the end of Sly 1, for instance. A lot of the missiles are coded just to miss us outright. They will be no threat whatsoever, but once we see missiles with dark red, like kind of crimson trails of smoke emanating behind them, those will make a beeline straight for us, and we need to bring them down if we want to avoid sustaining damage. Like that. Keep focusing fire on the dam. This is yet another one of those little mini-bosses. I love that this game incorporates so many of them. You know I'm a sucker for special combat encounters.
Yeah. Unless they are quick-time events.
Oh yeah, no, those are awful. Well, skateboarding isn't so much a combat encounter between you and an enemy in the game, it's an encounter between you and the developers. Oh, we took damage again? Huh. Alright. You have to be really careful here. Oh, yep. There's the ones that'll get us. Let's just try burning the dam down as quick as we can. There we go!
Rajan knows how to swim.
As he says, Brady, I want to hear you say, damn, damn. There we go!
Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Oh! Well done! You did say Jean-Claude Van Damme, didn't you?
Yes.
Seth, that's brilliant. I'm proud. Well done, big sis.
Yeah, I am slightly proud of myself too.
Alright, on to the operation. Luna says he basically stole a military helicopter? Oh yeah. Welcome to Operation Wet Tiger.
Blowing up the temple's elephant mouth should turn this grotto into a swimming pool. I'll cover Murray from the chopper's gun turret while he pries the mouth open. Once that's done, Sly will need to walk the Cherry Bomb 500.
Yeah, so it turns out we haven't destroyed enough of the beautiful ancient temple yet, so we're going to blow up what's left.
Woohoo!
All of this, not to destroy the operation, but just to get Rajan out in the open so we can beat him down and steal his other half of the Clockwork Heart. It's kind of roundabout, yeah? NC says, I'm so glad this team's catching up on my puns. Nothing more disappointing than putting out the setup to see it fail.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Murray starts this operation off. And this is Murray's moment to shine. Well, even more than usual, I should say. I love that his instant kill move is a roundhouse kick, following an uppercut.
Yeah.
Like, if I weren't such a fan of this series, I would, like, start campaigning for Murray to just get his own game, like, chronicling his ridiculous Saturday morning cartoon superhero adventures.
Let's head out for the turret, Murray.
Yep, so, Bentley and Murray are together, meaning it's time for a whole lot of destruction.
Pry open the elephant's mouth for Sly.
Check.
MC says, here's a small gift for Seth's pun. Oh?
God damn it, are you gonna throw us an even better one?
Oh, no, he's sharing poetry from his role-playing campaign. There you are.
Ah.
Alright. What we have to do is get over to the side of the elephant mouth that actually forms the entrance to the temple proper, and wrench that sucker open using the power of Murray. Oh no, son, you did not just mess with Murray. Like, Murray can be shot like 20 times and not even begin to feel it. So, I think we're good.
Nice work. Now put those muscles to the test.
Then as Murray Norris... Oh, no. Chuck Norris actually isn't all that cool of a human being. Murray's much better.
I mean, I don't know much about him. I remember loving him as a kid because my grandpa was obsessed with Walker, Texas Ranger.
Oh yeah, no, that was a good show, but Chuck Norris's politics are a little weird. Oh yeah, so now Rajan is going to try to drop a ridiculous number of bombs on Murray, knowing that the only way you can truly kill Murray is with weapons of mass destruction. So it falls to Bentley to get back behind the controls of the drone and shoot down the entire cadre of bombs.
MC says Murray feels sadness when getting hurt, for he knows he will have to kill again.
Right. He feels disappointment, like that's the best they could do. And that makes him sad.
I don't know why, but I just remember that character from, Dritz Dourden's series. What was his name? Something with B, like the assassin guy. That was his arch enemy.
Oh.
I want to say Balthazar, but it wasn't Balthazar. Then I wanted to say Bartholomew, but it wasn't Bartholomew. And it's on top of my tongue.
MC says, Brady, read the poem for me. Okay. Turbulent water, darkened skies, fear of danger, lightning strikes. Beneath the expanse, looming shadow, rising giant, nowhere to go. That also sounds like it was written about Murray. So did you see we opened that little, that's very nice, MC, by the way. Sorry, these operations get a little tense, and we're gonna be bouncing back and forth between all of our characters. Here's the heavy ordnance Bentley traded the ruby for, and now we've got to tiptoe it all the way into that little compartment that Murray opened up. If we can. You alright, Potato?
It is just destroying shit.
Ah, he's been inspired by the stream.
He's channeling his inner Murray.
No.
Your poetry kind of sounds like a country song.
Yeah. Yeah, not enough mention of, like, old dusty roads. Or trucks. There needs to be more trucks.
1 out of 10 missing trucks.
I ain't got no trucks, goddammit.
Yep. But I can totally imagine it being sung to the tune of that Bo Burnham song that was mocking country songs.
Oh yeah.
God, modern country is awful.
Oh, I love Bo Burnham's mocking songs.
Okay, y'all ready to get the boss to show himself in the most unobtrusive manner possible?
Sure.
Cheese it in slow-mo! And flood the entire palace! Rajan didn't seem too bothered at first. He was just strutting outside.
Thunderbolts, my spice temple, ruined. I will no longer hide while you villains destroy my hard-won empire. This place is mine. Here I am king. Come, face me, Cooper. With Clockwork's black heart, I will show you true power. You are nothing. Come face the might of Rajan, Lord of these hills.
Boy, when we try to tick someone off, we really do the job.
Notice that Constable Nila's in attendance as well.
Yes, you do seem to have quite a talent for it.
Constable Nila, slumming it with the thieves again?
That man is an illegal spice trader. He should be brought to justice.
Blah blah blah.
You want me to take the gun, and the bust is all yours.
What?
Just try to keep up.
Just my game crashed.
Ah, what were you playing?
And then I have to payday.
Ah, I see. So yeah, the Clockwork Heart gives Rajan the ability to conduct electricity. And we've got to, yikes, make our way up to him. He'll telegraph which one of the 3, I guess, lanes of the arena, left, right, or center, he's targeting, by waving his staff in a given direction, like so. But wait, Brady, you might be saying, this isn't a boss battle. And no, it's not.
Sorry.
What are you doing?
Wow. Brady, you betrayed me again.
Sly doesn't get to fight Rajan. He's not strong enough. Murray does.
Oh. Oh, Murray.
Isn't that a bit unfair to Rajan?
Oh, yes!
Will renew your fear. Who's the Murray? All I see is a fat, pathetic weakling. I'm
The Murray.
big and not as smart as the other guys, but one thing I'm not is weak.
Murray is so sweet. Okay, so... how do you think... MC says so, who is the boss here? Obviously, it's Murray. But how do you think we're going to damage Rajan? Now, you can fight him conventionally, and I think until, like, 75% health, that's what we have to do. But there's a secret technique we could use here. Are you guys ready for this?
Something, electricity, water?
That's actually how he's going to attack us, for the most part.
Oh, okay.
As you can see, Rajan has an absurd amount of health. And keep in mind, he's taking blows from Murray. Meaning, like, if Sly or Bentley tried this, they would not be able to get a scratch in on him. Yeah, MC's got it. We're going to throw him into the laser fence. By first, knocking out his guards, and then throwing them at him to knock him unconscious.
Obviously.
Then electrifying him. Over and over again. Oops! He hit us with this cane, which is not normally how that works. But when he slams his staff down on the ground, it's usually a good idea to get on the lily pads because he's going to send electricity coursing through the water. Come on, gotta get my goat. There we go. Lucky for us, the shockwave temporarily takes the other guards out of the picture. Oh man, I hit the water again? Are you kidding me? Couldn't really gauge depth all that effectively there, but as you can see, Murray's got this. Rajan is certainly tougher than Dimitri, not exactly a high bar to clear there, but he's nothing to worry about. Oh, we were able to do this twice in a row. Nice, nice. Oh, no, Luna, you said it first. You're right. I'm sorry. I missed that entirely. Oh, he has hit us with that every time. Dang it. Ooh, had some lag there. Yikes. I promise I'll get caught up with chat in a moment. In fact, hold on. We can use one of our special techniques here. Yeah, our Fists of Flame will make this much easier. Or faster, I guess. Oi, 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 oi. Come on, baby, give us some guards. There we go. Oh, and Rajan can knock them out as well. Good. That should do him. But Sly's unconscious. And Nila betrayed him.
Oh no, Nila. How dare you? Nobody saw that coming. She was too friendly.
And who exactly did she sell us out to?
Happy day.
What? Nila?
Because Murray's kind of stuck down here.
Real bad. Can you hear me? I said Sly's hurt.
There they are, Contessa.
Yep. She's turned Murray and Sly into the Contessa.
And Rajan all incapacitated.
Along with Rajan. Which means that Sly and Murray are going to be captured by Interpol and taken to the Contessa's special prison fortress in Czechia.
We're going to Czechia.
Yes.
Wow.
We're going to Prague.
Good reason Inspector Fox never caught the Cooper gang.
I love the Contessa's design.
I bet Seth doesn't.
This is a photo of Carmelita dancing with
Nope.
Sly Cooper.
Look, and so Nila now is claiming that Carmelita was an accomplice of the Cooper gang the entire time to get her on the outs.
Familiar in this picture. Men, place Inspector Fox under arrest.
I'll get you, Nila. Don't think I won't.
Such a pity when an officer falls from the line.
So you know who's gonna take the lead for the next chapter.
I can't believe it! That double-crossing, cockney liar!
The assassin.
Yeah, it's Bentley's time to shine for most of an entire chapter. The whole next chapter is about breaking Sly out of prison in Czechia.
Statistically improbable.
Wow.
I had to face the facts. Nila had betrayed us. My teammates were captured.
Carmelita was also arrested.
Oh no.
While intellectually,
Wait till you see what Czechia looks like in this game.
I'd always been a rich source of sociological
Well,
interest.
let's
A long
check it
walk
out.
out of the jungle gave me time.
It's absurd.
And with each passing step, my sense of isolation.
It's really cool, but it's absurd.
Shockingly, my comrade's absence had a profound emotional effect on me. This was it. This was the true test of friendship. Upon reaching the van, my resolve was hardened. I had to save my friends. But first things first, had to learn how to drive a stick shift.
Yeah, so now Bentley's driving the van. Luna says, I mean, Murray could kill them all with a damn roundhouse kick. Yeah, but he was, like, trapped in a deep cistern surrounded by crossbowmen, the Contessa's personal guards. MC says, Czechia does not exist. I never went there. They changed the official name just a few years ago, didn't they?
Czechia, yeah, and then they returned it back to Czech Republic because nobody wanted to use it.
Wait, seriously?
Yep.
It's the Czech Republic again. Alright. So, no. What do you think Czechia is going to look like here?
Very poor and industrial.
Oh boy. You have no idea. Remember, when we saw the Indian stages, we could at least say, yeah, that's supposed to be India. When we saw Paris, we thought, yeah, that's supposed to be France. Just get a load of this! Welcome to Chapter 4, Jailbreak. And yes, the Contessa serves as our villain for the next two chapters, and she's great. Luna says, tickles for the mighty Murray. You'll see. Oh, man. Not gonna lie, the atmosphere of this next area kinda creeped me out when I was a kid. Not like frightening, but, you know, unsettling like a lot of things in games when you're young. Look!
Contessa. While still a criminal psychology student, she entered into a whirlwind romance and married a wealthy
so far it looks more like Transylvania.
Sadly,
yep.
the union was short-lived,
yeah.
as the general suspiciously died a few weeks after the ceremony. The widowed Contessa put her education and newly acquired estate to work by opening a criminal rehabilitation center. Her pioneering use of hypnotherapy has produced some good results.
Because all Eastern European countries look the same. And also, Czechia is not even in Eastern Europe.
My friends are locked up somewhere.
It's like technically on the easternmost, in the easternmost section of Central Europe, right?
Yeah, it's Central Europe.
Oh, well then that's my fault then. That's my faux pas. I think that's why they're going with, like, Transylvania then. Sorry. Bentley saves the gang in Jailbreak. MC says he could take a myriad of bolts. Yeah. And Luna says, so basically she Black Widowed her partner and became a dominatrix. Yeah, the Contessa is a literal Black Widow and a professional psychologist who excels in hypnotherapy. So yeah, welcome to the Czech Republic. I'm pretty sure it doesn't look like this.
No, it definitely does not.
This looks like hell. And our guards here are werewolves, crossbow-toting vultures, and gargoyles. At least they got the public transport right.
Oh yeah, public transport is definitely like that.
No, like, have a look, the train's about to come by. Yeah, there you go. Also, you know how there's just, like, ash in the air constantly?
Yeah.
They really did their research.
Oh yeah, I remember when I went to Prague, like, there was ash everywhere.
Oh god. Oh, Bentley gets a temporary speed boost. Wait, Murray gets Atlas strength. You can jump while carrying things, yes. Alarm clock. Confuse enemies, sure. And then we'll save up for Bentley's adrenaline burst. MC says, it's in the long-lost region of Europe. Wildlands. Crazy-ass creatures. So basically like a modern vampire state. Yeah, exactly. Prague serves as our, like, requisite haunted, or I guess eerie supernatural stage, and it actually sets that that tone very well. Out of the series, like, darker, more supernatural settings, this is one of my favorites. It's one of my favorite settings in the franchise as a whole, because it's, in narrative structure as well, very dark and grim, compared to what you would expect from a Sly Cooper game. Like, Sly is being held, Sly and Murray are both being held, and in fact, not in a, PG, very silly, general audience way, being tortured in the Contessa's prison fortress, for reasons we'll get to shortly. And we have to break them out of what is actually less a detention center and more like a prison camp. Like, this is dark. Really dark. A lot of the clue bottles we can't get until Sly's able to take the field, so don't you worry about them. Luna says, I mean, why not upgrade him if you're only using him right now? And she's a double-crosser for sure, I see it coming. Whom? Basically, we know everyone but Carmelita, who is not a member of the Cooper gang, and who is a named character, is a villain of some stripe or another at this point. And I'm not getting the adrenaline burst for Bentley because it gives him a pretty considerable boost to his speed, but consumes energy that we could be using for bombs, and lasts for a very short duration. Most of the time, if you're playing as Bentley, you don't want to have to run. Oh, notice our coins are now emblazoned with an image of a spider. Quite fittingly.
So your butt smells. Thank you. Goodbye.
If you would like to donate to donate to toilet paper. No, this is about as dark and grim as the Sly Cooper franchise ever becomes, and I love it. Like, does it not seem like this environment came out of an entirely separate game?
Kind of.
MC says this game is super cliche. Cliche is great. Well, not necessarily. It's just inspired by Saturday morning cartoons, which do use a lot of bog standard visual signifiers for things. But trust me when I say, this area does not feel like just a standard haunted castle. There's a lot more going on here. This is the Contessa's mansion, by the way. Or one of them. And it's patrolled by a fucking tank!
Of course.
That's never really important, but just know that she has tanks. She has tanks!
Yes, she's using tanks for patrol.
How is Interpol okay with this? So our first mission is very simple. We just need to eavesdrop on the Contessa to see what exactly is going on here.
Aha! The Contessa is out making her rounds.
Oh, look at her go.
Wait a second. The feathers on my sleep darts vibrate near sounds. If I maintain my position on top of this parabolic dish, I should be able to hear that frequency at a distance. This is great. If I tag the Contessa with my darts, I'll be able to listen in on whatever she says. I might even learn where she's locked up Sly and Murray.
Yep, so all we have to do is tag her with a few sleep darts to get some exposition.
Yay! Exposition!
And yeah, here's where we get our confirmation, as you're probably suspecting, that she is involved with the Claw Gang as well. And somehow Interpol has not figured this out. Yeah, so she's slowly using her hypnotic therapy to destroy Sly and Murray's minds, and override them with commands of her own. Yeah, so that's her plan. She hypnotizes people after getting them high on heroin, and since they're criminals, forces them to tell her where they've stashed their loot, so she can gather it.
That's actually quite smart.
Oh no, she's going all in on trying to break Murray.
Nobody breaks the Murray.
Murray is unbreakable.
hull should break his spirit. Let him squat there week after week. He's seen that the guards along the wall all have motion detectors.
And yeah, she's thrown Sly into a bolt hole in the center of the prison camp. Not even a proper cell. He's just trapped in an oubliette. So, yeah, this is cruel and unusual punishment. This is torture.
She's no healthcare professional. Why, that's the most heinous crime I've ever heard of. Putting inmates into hypnosis.
He's no healthcare professional.
What an insult, Bentley.
It dishonors both law enforcement and thieves at the same time.
Luna says, I've seen enough internet to know how that ends.
Way to break Sly out of the hole.
Yeah, so our first objective is to get Sly out. Then the two of us can work together to get Murray out of prison. Now, how do you think we're going to get Sly out of prison?
By murdering everyone?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Okay.
Now, keep in mind, some of these statues along the bridge are, in fact, disguised werewolf guards. Because Prague is apparently a massive, endless realm of horrors. Also, all of these, guards are ostensibly Interpol employees, and all of this is perfectly fine. Violently, Luna says, using the train as a bomb? Not quite. You're headed in the right direction, though. Oh, this is also the first stage where we get to experience Bentley's hacking gameplay in Sly 2. You remember that simple little hacking minigame we played in Clockwork's Lair? Well, it's been refined extensively in this game. And I absolutely love it. Contessa's flashlight guards are even creepier than the norm. Oh no. Oh no. Bentley, no. Where did all the guards come from? Notice this jamming it against the prison. Now you're getting it.
Oh god.
We're going to jump the train off the rails and send it crashing through the walls of the prison.
I mean, that's probably the only thing that Czech public transport is useful for.
Is it really that bad in real life?
I mean, it's very old. At least the one that I was using. I think that maybe they got some new trains, but most of them are old.
So, what we have to do first is accelerate the train considerably. By hacking. I'm in.
Nothing like a good computer hack job.
So, this is a twin-stick shooter. A very smooth feeling one at that. Now what we want to do is plug ourselves into these little green niches in order to open new paths. We can also fire our hacker code with the right stick to destroy enemies and break through barriers like this.
I should move the right by using both analog sticks at the same time. I'll be able to move and shoot in different directions.
We'll want to move carefully to avoid taking damage from the turrets. That is Terminal 1 hacked. And look! The train will indeed become faster. Bad news, for certain stretches, it may be easier for us to run along the tracks against the train. I love the atmosphere of this stage. Seriously, for like the silly, cartoonish Sly Cooper franchise, it feels legitimately dark and oppressive. It's a real accomplishment, actually. Now into Phase 2, and notice, with each successive hacking stage, as we accelerate the train more and more, the background music during the hacking minigames will be faster and faster. Or the tempo will be faster and faster, I should say. I'm sorry, I promise I can English. Just a few more turrets to take care of in this one. It's going to very gradually become more complex. And no, you don't have to eliminate all of the enemies in order to activate the node and accelerate the tank, but I wanna.
2 down, 4 more to go.
Luna says you English way better than me. Oh, no. Your English is great, man. You ought to hear me try to muddle through the other language I ostensibly know, though. That's a train wreck. Pun not intended. Alright. Terminal number 3. It's gonna get just a little bit more complex every time. This time, we've got enemy spawners constantly bringing in these little paper airplane-looking suckers that are going to attempt to ram into us, dealing contact damage. So we've got to dodge them and slowly hack our way through this firewall. Which is exactly how hacking works in the real world, right, friends? The most accurate chapter in Sly Cooper yet.
That should speed up the train by
MC says, accent does not matter as long as you manage to communicate. Yeah, absolutely. That's right. Oh, and Luna, don't worry about stuttering. I do it all the time. It's difficult to try and play games or multitask at all and communicate. Trust me. Alright, now we've got to hoof it because the trains are coming. Faster and faster all the... Wait, where is it? Oh, no. Oh, no. Woo! As you can see, that electricity will kill us very quickly. Very, very quickly. And now we're going to have to run, by and large, along the... Oh, train tracks. Things are going to get more and more hectic as we keep digging down, so... Let's move quickly. Hack, 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 hack. Ooh, taking damage. Yikes. Should have seen those. There we go. 2 more.
Just 2 more terminals.
Let's actually wait over here for the train to come by a couple more times. MC says, for tonight, I have some difficulty elaborating on proper sentences at times due to accumulated fatigue. I get that. Yep, Brady's a pro at translating, which I'm thankful for. Oh, thanks, man. It's part and parcel of the job, you know? One of the most important things, or most important skills for a teacher, I think, especially someone like myself who deals with a lot of written work, is being able to extrapolate a meaning from sentiment, no matter how it's communicated. Oh, these suckers. They are mobile, they can fire at us, I think, and they can take several hits before... Or no, they can't fire at us, sorry. Oh, but they can, just very rarely, I guess? And they could take a couple shots before they get deleted. So they combine all the capabilities of the other 2 types of enemies we've seen before. And we generally want to kite them away from the firewall so we can hack our way in. I'm in. Okay, one more.
Yes,
One more.
Trains at full speed. Now, on to reverse the field's polarity.
Train's as fast as it's gonna get. So it's time to, prime it for launch. Which, I don't believe we'll actually fire it off immediately. I think we complete a couple other, stages, and then we launch the train. Maybe. Or no? Maybe it is at the end of this one. Sorry, I'm forgetting my order of operations here. It's okay if we take damage. Bentley's, little avatar is tough. It can take it. We have to hit these 2 nodes over to the sides of the arena. Oh, God. Yikes! Just getting juggled in order to remove these obstacles. And there we go. As you can see, hacking has been improved considerably for Sly 2, which is important. Oh, and there it goes. Score 1 for public transportation. It's important that hacking was improved because it's going to play a considerably larger role in Sly 2 than it did in the first game. Also, goodness gracious, having to explore a stage for the first time, principally as Bentley, is a little tricky. Because Bentley, even though he can take out enemies really efficiently, has to take them on more or less one at a time. One more mission, I think, and then we get Sly back.
Finally.
And we will spend the back half of the chapter working to set Murray free. No, I thought I hit you. Alright. You could see as well, is it just me, or does it feel like Prague has way more densely clustered guards? Like, every time we've gotten into a fight with one guard, a couple more have come running. I guess it's part and parcel to this stage, or this map being much smaller and more navigable than Rajan's second map. Like, I don't know about you guys, the level layout here is much stronger than it was in the last chapter. It's also way more colorful, even though those colors are kind of dark and ominous. It's just a much better designed stage than the last, is what I'm getting at, I suppose. Ah yes, next up, wall bombing. One of Bentley's favorite sports. Doesn't help, of course, that Bentley's bombs, despite being strong, are super loud. Due to being, you know, bombs. Okay, on to some wall bombing.
Along the prison wall are outfitted with a motion tracking device. There's no way for Sly to escape. Unless I take those guys out with my RC chopper.
Yep. So now, Bentley has got to bomb the walls to take out 7 buzzard guards, yikes, armed with motion detectors. We are going to be taking quite a bit of fire just from them. There's not a whole lot we can do about that. Fortunately, they deal relatively little damage. But we do want to avoid missiles that will be fired from turrets along the walls as we progress through this simple little mini-game mission. Unlike the flashlight guards at Rajan's palace, the buzzards are made of some pretty tough stuff and can take 2 bombs before dying. Just one more. There they are. There we go. And this will allow Sly to finally make his way out of jail. And what do you know, he held on surprisingly well. He had his binocucom the entire time, and his cane? What? They didn't search him? They didn't process him? Well, I mean, I guess it's the Contessa, and she's not exactly on the up and up, but you wouldn't let your enemy keep all their weapons. That's the height of hubris!
Wow, you've really thought of everything.
Don't I always?
Yeah, you do. Thanks for busting me out.
Oh, well, you know the old saying, if you can't count on a friend to bust you out of jail, what kind of a friend are they?
Truer words?
So true, Bentley. So true. And now let's just ride the train back out in a somewhat unusual, unorthodox manner. Okay. Let's also... Ooh, can we ride that? I don't know if we can ride that. Or reach it from here. Oh, we did get a new ability, did we not? Yeah, the alarm clock, which we can use to lure guards. A trait we might need a couple different times. Ah, hell with it. We tried, and we failed. Oh well. Now that we have Sly, we can also gather up most of the clue bottles in Prague. All of them, I think, really. And our vault, for the first time, is in an area that we will never have to access for a mission. It's secreted away inside the Contessa's mansion. And yeah, this is probably the first chapter in the game where you want to go out of your way to avoid combat as much as you can because the guards are so densely packed. The gargoyles can shriek to alert other nearby guards, so want to prioritize them where we can. Let's just grab what clue bottles we can as well while we're up here. In fact, let's just take a quick tour along what used to be the tram line and crack open as many bottles as we can. You guys both playing Payday right now?
Yep.
How's it going?
Mine's a bit stressful.
No. As he says, nobody will bat an eye. You prefer playing quiet or loud, Potato?
Mostly quiet. If I can.
Ah, the approach that requires some finesse then. Quite a lot of finesse on certain jobs, actually, if I recall.
Yep. Because there's actually a really just small amount of jobs that are like you have to do on stealth. The other ones are just stealth optional, so
yeah,
it's much more difficult to do those on stealth.
Or at least complete them with a pure stealth approach, right? Quite a lot of them, it's fairly easy to do a lot of setup completely undetected.
Yeah.
But actually carrying out the entire job with that playstyle, that's tricky stuff, man. Ooh, bottle.
Very tricky.
I don't think we want to crawl our way back into the prison just yet. More bottles, of course. A ton of them are actually on the prison grounds. Let's see, have we gathered enough for now, you think? I think so. So let's make our way back to the safe house. Yay! To, plan. Plan for what, you ask? Plan to bust Murray's, very, very plentiful ass out of prison, of course. Oh no. Do you see what I mean about guards on this map just constantly summoning other guards? Oh god, we might actually die here. Jesus Christ.
Oh, Brady, you're too young.
No, not if we swing our way across here. Alright, alright. This puts us back nearer the safe house. Clue bottle over here, might as well. Alright, now we get a proper slideshow, which we've been missing. And, as you may expect, there are no pure Murray missions in this chapter. We get to play as him very briefly to do what he does best.
Murder.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here's the situation. I've done some deep database crunching and figured out that Murray is doing time in cell block D. Getting him out is going to be tough. As you know, he's not very light on his feet. First, we'll need to get Murray into an isolation cell away from the other inmates. Second, I'll need you to get a sample of the Contessa's encryption algorithm. Don't worry, I'll explain later. Third, you'll need to pickpocket a few keys from the Contessa, but watch out for her pack of bodyguards. And fourth, you'll have to deactivate her giant attack robot. No, really, Sly, I'm serious. The Contessa has a giant attack robot.
Yes, the water tower is a disguised mech.
Now, once you've pulled off
So we've got to shut it down.
jobs, we'll be ready to make a play for the big guy.
Bentley is completely serious. Okay, first things first, though, we've got to get Murray into solitary confinement. I'm sure you can imagine how this is accomplished.
Murder?
A whole lot of murder. Remember, it's the only time we get to play as Murray for the entire chapter, so they've kind of got to cram a lot in here.
That pipe will lead you to his cell block. Try to locate him and relate the plan. After that, it's all up to Murray.
All right, I'm headed inside.
Yeah, we've got to get the message to Murray, which means sneaking in through the prison sewer, because of course. What are you guys thinking so far? Is it not just me, or does this chapter feel a lot stronger than the last one? In terms of mission design,
Yeah.
overworld, everything.
The previous one, yes.
I mean, this isn't remotely related to Czechia, but still.
Over here, in the back wall.
Sly! I'm so glad to see you. They've been forcing me to eat meals covered in spice.
It's
and I'm feeling kind of
Czechoslovakia.
strange.
Yeah, there you go.
No problem. Bentley seems to have found a weakness in the solitary confinement cell. If you can get in a big enough fight, the guards will throw
MC says the overworld has the same principle, but is much more circular, making it flow better. And it's also smaller, so denser.
Could take down 50 foes, if I had to.
Excellent. You beat the snot out of 50 of those guys, and Bentley and I will take care of the rest.
Yeah, so for Murray to get into solitary, he has to murder 50 other prisoners. There will be a scoreboard. I'm not kidding. Watch the monitors on the sides here. There's a literal murder scoreboard and traps we can use to our advantage. Observe. Oh, and the walls? Spikes. So this is just good old-fashioned mayhem. Oh, the corners? Those are spotlights connected to turrets. You know how it goes. Already a fifth of the way there. And apparently, Murray mentioned, I don't know if you guys caught it, that the Contessa's been force-feeding him meals drugged with spice. Definitely spice and not heroin. To soften his mind for her aggressive hypnotherapies.
Yeah, that's what spice would do.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
The Murray chops up 20.
But if the Contessa is a member of the Claw Gang, you know what that must mean, right? She has a chunk of clockwork all to herself. We don't get to see it or recover it in this chapter, though. Our goal is purely getting the Murray out of the jail. Look at this. Look at this slaughter. I would say Murray lost his soul in this prison, but one can't lose what they never truly had to begin with.
My unstoppability is supreme.
Look at this, God's sake. We're not even using our special abilities. Playing as Murray is a special ability in and of itself.
48. There's no debate. 49. Feeling fine.
Luna says, "Yep, we could say the food was too spicy." Yeah. Oh wait, no, those weren't prisoners. Those were 50 guards.
Oh.
They're the Contessa's men. It's fine. It's fine. Murray's the best. Nothing can break his spirit. It's amazing. So what's next on Sly's list? How about those two that are perfectly overlapping? One of them involves, decrypting the Contessa's, security algorithm, and it's kind of the least appealing of these, missions, so we'll go there first. Code capture, that's the one. Ooh, this guard's got some loot. Notice, the guards have been a little stingy on the treasures around the prison. Gold medal, there you go. That's worth a pretty penny back on ThiefNet, which is totally distinct from Crime.com or whatever is in the Payday franchise.
CrimeNet.
Ah, there you go, yeah.
Duh.
Well, yeah, obviously, the Coopers use a proprietary version that is designed for one and only one type of crime. Despite the name, that crime is actually tax fraud. Oh, a pocket watch. That's nice, I suppose.
Nice.
Alright, let's just clamber our way on inside here. As you would expect, the prison grounds are crawling with security, but also with treasure and opportunity. Let's just climb our way up inside the attack robot for a second. We alerted a guard? Oh, we alerted a gargoyle. No big deal. I want to say all or most of the chapter's unique treasures are also stored on the prison grounds. As he says, Murray is the spice of life, and life is also death. Yes. Murray knows no distinction between life and death. There is only existence. And he shuffles his opponents between different realms of existence. So in that case, in that sense, he's less a force for destruction and more just a force for change, like Mehrunes Dagon. Look at all this booby-trap treasure. Luna says, that means we are all really dead? We're all just waiting for Murray, yes. If Murray sees you or is aware that you exist, you are already dead. Oh my god, that might actually be the best basis for a Sly Cooper, like, parody creepypasta imaginable. Like, Murray becomes aware of the player's existence throughout a playthrough of Sly 2 or 3, and then appears in the real world to kill them. Complete with his trademark good humor. And he says, no, it means we enjoy the time we have alive. Well, I believe in life after death. I wouldn't want Murray to shuffle me down that road. That'd be painful. And probably involve far too many D-grade puns for my liking. The overanalysts deal only in top-quality puns, don't you know? Alright, code captures our mission. There's still plenty of clue bottles scattered around the prison complex, but we'll get them. And so he says, what if those clue bottles are actually Murray's ancient knowledge? Oh, yeah, and Sly is just able to use some of Murray's techniques after learning enough or reading enough of his teachings. That makes sense. That tracks. We got 20 out of the 30. Is this Contessa? No, code capture. That's the one we wanted. Luna says, well, about that, some puns suck.
I'd love to.
Fair enough.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
All right, I'll explain it to you one
Some puns blow.
See that security station? The guard nearby is
Put them together and you've got a pun vacuum cleaner.
First, I'll need you to pickpocket his key to the terminal.
Sure.
A vacuum punner.
Then use it on the security station to set off the alarm.
Hold up. You want me to set off the alarm?
Yeah, set it off, then clear out as the guard's sure to come running. Once he sees that it's a false alarm, he'll input the code to turn it off.
So you want me to take a picture of the code?
Move to a safe place and get a clean shot of that digital readout.
Should I hit all the security stations out here?
That's right. Once I've got a large enough sample of the Contessa's codes, I should be able to crack her encryption algorithm.
Now, see, you lost me again.
Just take the pictures. I'll handle the rest.
Yeah, so this is a pretty simple but multi-stage job. First, we need to pickpocket keys off of 4 of the Contessa's buzzard guards, like so. Then, we need to waddle on over to the corresponding security station to set off an alarm so that they'll have to come along and disarm the alarm with an input that inexplicably will be displayed on these oversized monitors. We then just need to make our way to a solid vantage point from which we can spot the input, the code, see? Wait until they input it, then snap a photo. Luna says, I'm too tired for this. Izzy says, are you saying this is punishable by death? Nice. Nice one.
Oof. Yeah, that was a good one.
That one had some stank on it. This may be just because I've played the 2 franchises back to back, but I will say that Prague feels a bit in like its atmosphere like a Psychonauts level. The art direction too. Okay, so this guard is simply patrolling outside the Contessa's mansion. Gee, I wonder which security station he's tasked with watching over. Here we go. Many of the werewolves are asleep, don't worry about them. Let's hope we can make it in time. No! No! Shit, a second too late. Dang it. Okay, okay. We know where we have to go, though. I don't think we can get here from the car, can we? No. This, like, early 20th century car that seems to be the only model available in Prague in this world.
Well, I mean, you can probably buy any car that you want as long as you want that car.
Right, right. As Ford said, it's available in any color you like as long as you like black.
Exactly.
Which is objectively, like, the best color for a car, just saying. It's probably a bit faster to go over here, isn't it?
I prefer my car painted with the blood of my enemies, but, you know, to each
Yeah.
his own.
Yeah, but that's a custom paint job. Like, I'm talking about the ones you could get off the lot, you know? Like, you gotta put a lot of work to get in all that enemy blood.
Not just you have a lot of enemies and a lot of gas.
Ah, very true, very true. Or if all your enemies happen to live in one densely clustered, like, little area. We're putting way too much thought into this simple joke now, aren't we?
Or not enough. I
You decide,
yeah,
Jet.
joke.
Yes, he says, is that why rich people like their cars red?
No, they like them red because red means they go fast.
So the rich are just orcs from Warhammer?
Exactly.
The red ones go faster. Which they really do. I don't know if y'all are aware, but, like, that's good old orky science.
Yep. Yeah, it's not really science, but yeah.
It's not science so much as it is fervent belief that that's the way things work.
Yeah.
As he says, it hides the blood well, blood and the sweat of the people. Yeah. I love the in-universe explanation in, like, at least Warhammer 40k that absolutely no orcish technology should be physically capable of working. At all. But their sheer belief makes it all function far better than many, like, human equivalents.
Yeah, because they're latent psychics. And
yeah.
Also, like, they can open their windows in their spaceships while in space to get more, like, air in there.
Yes, they're incredible. Wow. Like, look, you could make a very solid case for the orcs actually being the most morally, like, benevolent faction in the entire Warhammer universe. Because they don't mean any harm, they just love fighting and think everybody else does too. Oh boy. Gotta hide, gotta hide, gotta hide.
You mean you're not enjoying me beating the shit out of you? Well, crap. I'm sorry. My bad.
That's actually the way they operate. Yes, they're the best. Well, I say the best. Objectively, the most moral faction in Warhammer 40k is the Tau Empire. But they don't get a ton of attention in a lot of the lore because that's time that could be spent, like, wanking over space marines, so... Like, the orcs are the most benevolent you're gonna see most of the time. Alright, one last guard to pickpocket. Can we just creep right on up and get that? Yep, but now we've got to lure him away so we can access the alarm panel. Now, what's the best way to do that? Well... we could create a ruckus, we could smash some nearby destructibles, or we could alarm clock! Behold, everybody's favorite sound. Yes, flee! Flee from the sound of the morning! That's the true gothic horror. Having to get up at 7 a.m. As he says, time to clock the alarm. They actually do. They will destroy it, I believe, once they find it. This should be the last of the Contessa's codes we need to grab. And... is it? Come on. Plug that in, you know you want to. Come on. There we go! Mission complete. Now, friends, I'm afraid, sorry to say, we're coming up on around 3.5 hours of stream. We'll have to leave it there for today. But thank you so much to everyone who's joined me for this continuing odyssey into one of my favorite franchises from childhood, which, I don't know about you guys, but I would argue, at least compared to a lot of the other older franchises we've played across the network recently, it holds up really well, yeah? I've enjoyed this greatly. Next time, so Sunday, hopefully, we will be able to polish off the Contessa and meet probably my favorite member of the Claw Gang as we head on toward the end of Sly 2, Band of Thieves. Thank you all so much to everyone who's joined me, and a special thank you to Seth the Overwitch and Comrade Potato for jumping in on commentary.
Always a pleasure.
Of course. Thank you, thank you. Anything we should plug or mention before we conclude the stream?
No Peroni.
All right. Thank you all so much. We will see you on Sunday. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, thank you and take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.